welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another broadcast. Welcome back to the Hatchery Cup number 10, a monthly tournament here on the CranKy Ducklings. I'm of course your Sly VIP, and with me I'm joined by the lovely people in the chat, by the lovely plushies before me as well. Welcome, welcome. It has been far too long. It has been less than 24 hours. Oh my god, it's been a pretty intense weekend, week of StarCraft. There's been a lot going on, especially with the IEM qualifiers, the IEM Katowice qualifiers. We just wrapped up with the Asia qualifiers last night, and tonight we have the European qualifiers as well. And to get a bit of a taste of the kind of caliber of players that we're going to be getting into when it comes to the IEM Katowice Europe server qualifiers, we have something very Euro-centric here in the Hatchery Cup. This is our first time covering it. It is an event that's been running for almost a year at this point, I think. Almost a year of Hatchery Cups here, and yeah, it's something that kind of at least I was keeping my eye on, and I was a little bit hesitant about covering it in general when it comes to European centric tournaments. We haven't really delved too much into it just because I'm in Australia and it's typically at a really bad time so for us, but especially over the past couple of months, we have been, or at least I have been, adjusting my sleep schedule, and I've been more and more willing to kind of stay up into the late hours of the night and cover things like the House Open Cup, for example, or the Hatchery Cup, soon in the future VK Play tournaments. And yeah, you know, it's just look, I want to cast everything, okay? We have to cast everything, of course. So this is going to be another event that we try to make regular here. Now, unfortunately, this tournament did occur, I believe it was on Friday, over the weekend, so less than a week ago at this point, but the event did already occur. We missed it, unfortunately. We weren't able to cover it live, but we are here covering the replays, covering it for you here in English. I believe there was already another broadcast. I believe Hatsu and maybe Bratok, or I think there was maybe another broadcast on Monday at the start of the week that was covering it in the Russian language, and we're going to be covering it in English here. And yeah, you may be familiar with some of these players. I myself am not familiar with all of them. Geralt, we were casting him earlier yesterday, or this morning, or yesterday night, depending on where you are. We were covering the Polish event, the House Open Cup, and Geralt, he went far in that event. Did go far. We're very familiar with him, of course, a lovely Polish Protoss player. But now we're going to be featuring another player here on CSO Esports, UED Soldier, and I have seen him in brackets before, but I haven't really been able to cover him too much, so I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm always excited to be introduced to new players, introduced to the wider StarCraft scene. And yeah, I'm ready for it. When it comes to the event itself, again, !B in the chat to get a link to the bracket. Be careful with the bracket link because there are spoilers over on Wikipedia. But again, from my understanding, this is a monthly tournament and open to many regions. I'm not too sure if there's any limitations on who can join. Unsure about that, but a big shout out to someone special in the chat. I do see her, Hatsu TV, in the chat. Again, she's kind of the person behind all of these events, the person behind the Hatchery Cup. Without Hatsu, this event would not be happening. So much love, much support to Hatsu. Very similar to Kashim, for example, who was, of course, the organizer of the House Open Cup over in Poland. We have Hatsu as well, organizing many events and bringing together a lot, not just the Hatchery Cup, but also, there you go. Oh, okay, there you go. But yeah, Hatsu, of course, is behind Hatchery Cup, also other events that are on the horizon later on in December. And yeah, we're even getting a little bit of an update here. It is open to everyone, so yeah, hopefully we can see this event grow even larger. We can get more players getting involved, more casters getting involved, of course, as well. As it looks like, oh, you casted with Nikorak. There we go. Last time it was Bratok. Okay. Also, hold on. Okay. I keep forgetting to ask him. Can he? I'm unsure. I always kind of I've always called him Bratok. Is it Bratok or is it Bratok? Like, do you say the OK separately? I never ask. I always mean to ask him like how to pronounce his name, and I haven't been able to. And we keep saying we should. So I need to know. I want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. But much love to Bratok, Nikorak, Hatsu as well, covering it earlier this week as we're getting ready to dive into this. I've always said Bratok, but I'm not sure. It's one. Yeah, let's go. It's one word. Okay. Thank you. Like, look, the capitalization throws you off a little bit, throws us off, but good to know. For now, we're going to be diving into our first matchup here, into our first series. It is going to be a PvP. It is going to be a PvP, and just need a moment here to dive on into this. When it comes to the matches, or when it comes to this event itself, we will try to make sure that we're able to cover the future Hatchery Cups live. Today we're going to be covering it via replays, but in the future it should be live during the weekends or Saturdays or Fridays, just making sure that it doesn't conflict with anything else. Otherwise, we're getting ready here for our first best of 3. I believe it's a best of 3s up until the finals, and the finals will be a best of 5. And something a little bit special about this event, and we can sink our teeth into it later on, is that this event actually does have a third place match. Not many events actually have that. Kung Fu Cup holds third place matches, but no one ever casts them because the third place match happens at the same time as the finals, so it kind of falls by the wayside. But thankfully, here tonight, especially because, dziękuję. I know that word, dziękuję. He's speaking Polish. He knows. Proszę. Let's go. I understand. As we're getting into game number 1, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming. It is Geralt. I know like 6 words in Polish. I know proszę, I know dziękuję, I know dzień dobry, of course, and like a couple of like words here and there. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the green Protoss player representing CSO Esports. It is UED Soldier. Here we go. Again, we're going to be kicking things up here with a PvP. You do love to see it. And I'm ready to be introduced again to UED Soldier. I haven't had the luxury of casting him in the past. Have been casting like some Team League matches in the past with like CSO Esports and Chicago T Team, for example, and some of these other European-based teams. But yeah, haven't been exposed to him yet. I'm ready for it though. Again, Geralt is going to be coming in as one of the best Protosses in all of Poland. Is going to be coming in as a heavy hitter. But it's a PvP, and again, anything can happen. It's Protoss, buddy. Aye. For now, we have a 2-gate opener here from UED Soldier. Likewise, the same opener out of Geralt. Everyone is doing the same for the time being. UED Soldier does have a probe out on the map here on the right-hand side, so he could be threatening to throw down a proxy. As for the time being, the second pylon was thrown down in the main base, as the third pylon gets thrown down out on the map. Let's go. A pretty interesting proxy location. It is towards the center of the map. I wouldn't say the best location for something like a proxy robo. This wouldn't be a bad location for a proxy Stargate, just to get ahead economically. A proxy Stargate would lead into something like Oracle Harass, but no, never mind. It is going to be the Bay. The robo. The robotics facility is thrown down, so UED Soldier setting up a 1-base all-in. Okay, really interesting location. We are starting off with Adepts, but okay, we have Stalkers thereafter. First Adept has been revealed, and Geralt is in the dark. So a couple of important things have occurred. One, Geralt with the Probe Scouts, he did see both pylons. He saw them both in the main base, so everything looks normal so far. Everything looks standard. Everything looks as it should, when really, it's anything but. We have the third gateway out on the map as well. Again, the all-in is going to be upon us. At the same time, Geralt going to be threatening a shade towards the main base. Is UED Soldier fast enough to block it? Oh, just barely. Oh, no! The Stalker! We just barely blocked it. Just barely didn't towards the end there. The Adepts do get into the main base. Probes are going to be going down. Again, 2 workers. They do one-shot probes, and it looks like 4, almost 5 workers full here in the main base. Nice control towards the end. UED Soldier keeping that last worker alive. Did pull it back, but now his economy is crippled here, and we're going to have to commit even harder than before. It's all or nothing. Immortals are on the way. Stalkers are rocking out. Meanwhile, behind this, Geralt going for a Twilight counter follow-up. I imagine towards Blink. Still delaying his Nexus, but there we go. Nexus is on the way, and the armies are missing each other. Until now. We have spotted the army of UED Soldier. Geralt, does he turn back around? For now, he's fanning out his units. He's looking for proxies, looking for any kind of hidden pylon. There is one, but over on the other side of the map instead. Geralt, hopefully he races back home, as he is going to be in trouble. Does have 4 Stalkers. No shield battery, by the way. No shield battery, no overcharge. Only Stalkers. He can warp in 2 at a time. UED Soldier does have the production advantage. Is on 3 gateways. We're pushing forward. Army is going to get caught out. But for who? Geralt does take some extra hits, as UED Soldier does dive into the main base, just avoiding the natural base, avoiding the ramp. Shield batteries are now thrown down, but this is a late shield battery. We're going to have to recall back into the main. Pilot's going to be falling. We do supply block. Geralt! The supply block is real good. Force field as well, blocking off so many of those probes. The juggling as well, keeping that Immortal alive. So far, so good. Oh! Juggling those sentries. It looks like we're going to try and focus down the Prism. We do get the Prism in the end. We cannot reinforce. We cannot warp in. The Immortal goes down as well. But there may still just be too much. We have the overcharge, but it has run out. 16 probes go down. But UED Soldier, he has to go for the kill. Looking at the units tab here. UED Soldier is up 1 Stalker. But we still have the shield battery. 2 shield batteries even. Behind this, we have another Immortal on the way, but we're running out of steam. Despite that, even though UED Soldier may be forced out of the main base, Geralt, he's down to 12 workers. Has almost half the worker count of UED Soldier. Does have another Nexus, so he can make 2 workers at a time. Blink is about to finish up, so Geralt, he has certain advantages, but the economy, it's in shambles. It's almost non-existent. And UED Soldier, he can keep warping, and he catches the army. 2 Stalkers go down, and just like that, Geralt, he's losing momentum. Losing a lot of Stalkers. Does pull back, gonna try to catch some reinforcements, but UED Soldier, he just keeps on pushing. Looks like Geralt, he may catch a Stalker here out on the map. But what's back at home? The production! Stalker does get caught out. Nice pick off out of Geralt, but the pylon's gonna go down, and that is it. That is all the production depowered, and no more gateways, no more nothing. Geralt is racing back home. He's got 4 Stalkers and 1 Zealot. Against this army, I don't know if I can believe. The Immortal is being focused down. Oh my god, getting a lot of damage done. The Blinks! Geralt keeping all of his units alive. Oh my god. Zealot's gonna go down, but we don't care about the Zealot. It's fine. As we, unfortunately, we have an economy. That's the problem here, is that UED Soldier is fully saturated on 1 base. He's continuing to reinforce, warping in. That was impressive, though. That was a very impressive fight from Geralt to be able to maintain his Stalker count, to be able to shut down that Immortal. That was some good stuff, but there's only so much you can really accomplish here, as here comes UED Soldier with another Immortal. He just doesn't stop. Shield battery is depowered. There's another one in the mineral line. We're going to be focusing down the Nexus. From here, if UED Soldier wanted to, we could even try to expand. Could go for the natural, but alas, he's still just trying to barrel down the front door here of Geralt. We have high ground vision with the Observer. There's a sentry for force fields, but now we have the Prism. Even if a force field is thrown down, we can juggle away. Where's the force field? Again, it's thrown down, but we can avoid it. And UED Soldier snowballing out of control. He's going to be able to shut down this gateway, and he'll be able to shut down the other as well. No more energy, no more force fields. The shield battery on the high ground was repowered. We will have an overcharge. But we're within range. We're down to 1 gateway left. Geralt is throwing down 2 more gateways in the main base behind this, trying to keep its production going. He is actually getting back into this economically. He's recovering with his probe count. He is slowly recovering. Meanwhile, we have arrived with a 2nd Immortal. Once again, being so meticulous here with the control, making sure that they do not be focused down. From here, we could try to rotate around and maybe even go into the main, but we're just going to try to force our way in. Forcing our way up the ramp. The Prism, oh my god. Prism does get targeted for a moment, but does survive. Only losing shields. And that was the last force field. And now we can head on in. There's another force field, another sentry. We cut the army in half. We have the overcharge. You see UED Soldier actually pulling back. The boys are being pulled as well. More workers are going down. We fought so hard to rebuild the worker count, and it's still in shambles. And there we go. This is all we have left here for Geralt. Going for his last stand. He locks himself in. The There's no escape, but UED Soldier has no intention of escaping. The prism goes down. That's all we had left. 0 probes remaining, and it looks like UED Soldier is going to be taking a lead in the series. GG! Oh my god. GG, well played. The Soldier takes game number 1. And I'm a little bit in shock. I'm a little bit in shock. I'm definitely impressed here. Geralt, of course, a little bit greedy early on. I mean, I say a little bit greedy. Remember, winding it all back at the start of game 1, Geralt, he did go for the probe scout. He did confirm that all the pylons were where they should be. That's why it was really interesting. So UED Soldier, he got a 3rd pylon really early on, but that was the proxy pylon, just to make it look like everything was normal, just to kind of lure Geralt into a false sense of security. And Geralt did expose himself. Again, the last thing he was expecting was a 1 base all-in, because he was counting pylons and because he was checking gases and everything was looking as it should. By the time he realized what was going on, he had invested into a Twilight Council, into the Nexus, only had 2 gateways. He didn't really have what he needed to defend. So, yeah, UED Soldier just catching Geralt with his pants down. GG. With that, he does take a lead in the series, and it's going to be on Geralt to fight back. And again, coming into this, Geralt is the favorite player. He's straight up one of the best Protoss in Poland. Arguably the best Protoss, you know? Like, who else can contest against him? Christianer, Mana, Papi even, and, you know, they're comparable, don't get me wrong, but Geralt, he's very accomplished as a player. Very accomplished, and yeah, that's a big win for Soldier. Big win. Also, hold on. Am I crazy? Is UED Soldier, is that like a Terran unit? Is that like a United Earth Directorate? Okay, yeah. I feel so weird calling someone UED Soldier and they're not a Terran player. Because that's what it is. It's the United Earth Directorate. That's it. It's the UED in the lore. It's so weird. Was UED Soldier, did he race switch? Did he start as a Terran and switch to a Protoss, or is there some lore behind that? I'm curious. It's kind of like what's another example of that? There's examples on the ladder, right, where you're casting someone called like Protoss and they're playing Zerg, you know, for example, something like that. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have the Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming. It is Geralt. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the green Protoss player representing CSO Esports, the underdog, but leading the series 1-0. It is UED Soldier. Imagine like suddenly learning about UED. Well, I mean, I knew about it. That's the reason why I brought it up, is because I know that it's like the Terran like forces. I say force. There's a lot of different Terran forces in StarCraft, but yeah. It's why whenever I saw his name on the bracket, I thought he was a Terran player. It just made sense in the brain, in my mind. Guess it's like Raynor. True, I think that's a good example. Yeah, Raynor, who's not a Terran player, even though he called himself after Raynor, the Terran. Guess that's a good example. United Earth Directorate. Ah, quack, Bobby, quack. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2. And so far, once again, a 2-gate opener here from UED Soldier. Likewise, a 2-gate opener from Geralt as well. Everything is looking normal. Everything's looking quite mirrored here between the players. If you do remember, even last game we did throw down the second pylon in the main, but then we committed to a proxy across the map. After doing it in game 1, I can't imagine UED Soldier would do it 2 games in a row though. I feel like that's not the wisest of moves, especially against a player of the caliber of Geralt. I'm sure Geralt is going to be playing a lot safer this time, especially because this is a best of 3. Geralt, he is up against the wall. And we'll see how he is able to react. Or how he adjusts even. But now we have our first starting units. It's going to be double Stalker out of UED Soldier, double Adept out of Geralt. Interesting choices. If you do recall in game 1, UED Soldier did open up double Adept as well, and they were able to try to block each other, and there was a bit of a back and forth going on. But essentially, with our starting units, Geralt is going to be the aggressor, and UED Soldier is looking to be the defender. The probe is sticking around. The goal here of this probe is to get an eye on the first 2 units. Likewise, the same can be said for this, as the 2 stalkers have been revealed. And the adepts are moving out. UED soldier still, I believe, unaware. I don't think he saw the adepts, as the probe did evacuate a little bit sooner. Behind this, we do have a robo follow-up here, a very safe way to open up. This could still actually lead into a one base all-in. We'll see if we throw down a 3rd gateway. Otherwise, very safe, as we are looking to expand. Meanwhile, across the map, UED soldier committed to stalkers, going into a Twilight Council, working on a very fast blink and going for a 3rd gateway. Oh my god. Okay, this is looking like another one base all-in. This is looking like a proxy gateway, maybe a 4-gate blink. For now, we have 3 gateways, but we have that probe across the map. Adepts say threaten that shade. We do throw down that wall just in time. Adepts will not make their way in. Yeah, there it is. There's a pylon. So it looks like a 1 base 4-gate all-in. 4-gate blink all-in, I should emphasize. But because Geralt did open up Robo, this is why I mentioned that this is a very safe way to open, because you're still expanding, you know, you're taking your natural, and you have very fast Immortal production. Like, the Immortals are ideal defensively in this situation. They just chew their way through Stalkers so easily. The Immortal count's going to be getting higher and higher. Adept shades in, and we do get eyes on the 3rd gateway. I don't believe we saw the tech. We did not see the Twilight Council, but we saw the 3rd gateway, and that's enough of a tell. We also saw the lack of expansion, and Geralt is getting ready back at home. We have sentries for horse fields. We have shield batteries as well, soon to be an overcharge. Geralt, he is fortifying himself quite hard. There's that proxy 4th gate. So Geralt, he's almost blind countering what's happening, essentially, because of how safe he opened up without seeing much of anything initially. Like, this is just, yeah, working so well for Geralt. He even throws down a 3rd gateway just to be even safer, just so we can keep up in the production. And how do we break this? We don't just have 1 shield battery, we have a 2nd shield battery as well. 2 Immortals, the Force Fields, the Guardian Shield. And here we go, UED Soldier. Now, the one upside here for UED Soldier, he does have a lot of Stalkers. He can try to focus them down. He does dive on top of the Stalkers, but the Force Fields! He does get trapped. These 2 Immortals going ham on the army. He's going to be able to focus down 2 of those Stalkers. Oof. But that was a brutal trade. That was 4 Stalker. Almost 1-to-1 trade. Not too bad. Takes down a shield battery. But the Immortals, that's the problem. We need to deal with them. Now, what I was about to say is that because we have Blink, we could actually try to bypass the army and go into the main and avoid the shield batteries, but we don't have high ground vision. No vision, unfortunately. We're going to be able to pick off some of these sentries. I believe 1 sentry did go down. As the game progresses, Geralt is getting further and further ahead. We are up to 3 Immortals. We have 3 Immortals at this point. Ay. Doesn't look like a lot, but each Immortal represents almost, what, 5 Stalkers on their own? They're insane. Especially with support. Shields are going to be triggered. Now, the downside here is that Geralt cannot push out. That's the downside of this opener and this build of Geralt, is he doesn't have Blink, he doesn't have any way to have much of a maneuverable army. So he's going to be stuck contained, but he's up against an all-in. So, I mean, Geralt, he doesn't have to push out. And here we go. We dive on the army. We focus down one of the Immortals. Overcharge is pop. Can we get the... We do get the 2nd Immortal. Up. And we don't quite get the 3rd. It was a good effort here by UED Soldier, but doesn't get that 3rd Immortal. Yeah, GG's going to get called. He knows he cannot break him, and Geralt will survive. He will tie up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Again, Geralt just blindly opening up as safe as he could, and yeah, just rolling the dice, rolling well, anticipating the all-in from UED Soldier. And now things get interesting. We're tied up, we're 1-1. The question becomes, where does game 3 take us? So far, UED Soldier has all-in, or has gone for a 1-base all-in variation every game in this series. Do we do the same? Do we commit and do the same in game 3? I hope not. I feel like game 2 has showed us that Geralt, he's now kind of caught wind of his opponent. He's now aware of how aggressive he can be. He's aware of how assertive he can be, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see another Robo opener out of Geralt and just very safe play. So it's going to be on UED Soldier now to adjust. And as we get ready for the ace match, a big shout out to Hatsu. Big shout out to Hatsu TV. Thank you so much for resubscribing 4 months. Thank you. Thank you. Do appreciate it. Do appreciate it. Again, I mentioned before, but a big shout out to Hatsu. Again, she is one of the big names behind this tournament, behind the Hatchery Cup. So big shout out. As we're getting into the ace match, and spawning in the top left hand corner of Hard Lead, we have the Polish Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Storm Gaming, tying up the series 1-1. It is Geralt. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Green Protoss player, representing CSO Esports, being forced into the ace match. It is UED Soldier. Not a Terran. Not a Terran. And once again, we have 2 gate openers all around, as to be expected here on a map like Hard Lead. Oh, that's the other thing, actually. We are loading into Hard Lead, a very short rush distance by ground. Aggression is seen time and time again on a map as small as this, and it does kind of lend itself towards aggressive plays, whether it's a 1-base all-in, a 2-base all-in, like these big timing attacks. They can snowball out of control on a map like Hard Lead. So on the one hand, the map would kind of favor that kind of play style. On the other hand, again, I would not be surprised if Geralt does open up Robo, and I'm really curious to see how UED Soldier, how he does kind of, again, adapt over the course of this series. Probes are being sent out. Geralt's going to be coming in for a scout. UED Soldier keeping his probe hidden. This is looking like a fake proxy pylon. I like this. I do appreciate this. Probe is going to be coming in. So far, there's only 1 pylon in the main. The swag wall. Let's go. We do throw down the proxy pylon out on the map. And Geralt is aware of this. He's aware that the pylon is missing. And I love this from UED Soldier, just because, and what's really cool about this wall actually is I believe it allows a unit to go through, but it's a really long path, so you have a really long time to react and throw down something to wall off against these adepts. So you have a little bit of extra time, a couple of extra seconds to yourself, which is really cool. But yeah, we have noticed that the second pylon is missing, so Geralt, he's aware that there's potential for a proxy. He's aware of that at least. Third pylon thrown down for Geralt. Likewise for UED Soldier. Up. There we go. The first 2 units have been revealed. It's going to be a Stalker and a Sentry. A very safe opener from UED Soldier. Meanwhile, once again, yep, Geralt, he's going for a Robo. As we assumed, it makes a lot of sense based on how UED Soldier has been playing this series. It makes sense for Geralt to, once again, 2 games in a row, go for the Robo. Go for faster Immortal production. Meanwhile, for the first time this series, we're expanding. We're taking an expansion. Adepts, they do threaten the shade. As we mentioned before, again, because of the placement of these buildings, it creates like a little trench, and it gives you a little bit more time to react against something like these shades. As the Adepts are going to be shut down. They do get a couple of worker kills. 2 probes go down. But UED Soldier, he will have the slightly better economy. Twilight Council's on the way for Blink, I imagine. And because we opened up Sentry, this is the power of a Sentry-based opener, is the hallucination. We're going to be coming in, and we should be able to see everything in the main base of our opponent. That's why Sentry openers are so commonplace and considered to be very safe, just because you can scout everything you need to. As they dive into the main, the Robo opener has been confirmed, and Geralt is already working and building up that Immortal count. Does cancel the Immortal. Oh my. That was crazy. The Immortal has been cancelled, and we're going for a Prism. We could even throw down a 3rd gateway, and Geralt, he can be the one being aggressive himself. There it is. There's a 3rd gateway. So the turns are tabling. We're going to see a bit of a role reversal here. Instead of Geralt being the defender, UED Soldier, he's going to be back at home defending, surviving, and Geralt is going to be in his face. Now, there's a bit of a give and take here. UED Soldier with Blink, he'll have the mobile army, yes, but it's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit for Blink to really kick in. Before that does occur, Geralt, he's going to be pushing out with his Warp Prism, with reinforcements. He can warp in 3 Stalkers at a time. and he can try to dive into the main base. Now, I imagine we're going to be going for Adept Harass. That's typically the way you want to go this. You want to go with this because you can ferry the Adepts right into the mineral line and just wreak havoc. Despite the efforts here to try to make sure that Adepts do not get into the main, you cannot stop the Warp Prism. And there it is. Adepts are on the way. So Geralt, he's going for some harass. We're going to have Adepts shading to the natural. We're going to have Adepts going into the main. Behind this, Geralt is building up his Immortal count. We do have the Twilight Council on the way to get into eventually Blink. And we'll see how much damage Geralt can get done. There we go. Additional Depths are in production. Meanwhile, behind this, the Observer sees everything. Geralt, he has eyes on everything here at the natural, is where the positioning of the army. And we do not commit to the shade. At the same time, though, we do get into the main. And probes are going down. UED soldiers being pulled apart. 4 workers go down. We deny any kind of mining here in the main base. And at the same time, we can just threaten the shade into the natural as well. And we do commit. We commit to the shaves, and probes are going to be falling left and right in a mirror matchup. This is brutal. 2 Adepts are saved in the main. In the natural, they will go down, but that is 8 worker kills and a lot of lost mining time. So very nice moves here from Geralt. Even though UED Soldier had the slightly faster expansion, Geralt has the better economy. He is up in workers. He is, I would say, up in army as well with these Immortals. Ay, ay, ay. 2 Immortals here back at home, going for a Gateway Explosion. Blink is on the way. Now, what I will say about UED Soldier is that as Blink is done, and Blink is soon going to wrap up for both players, he already has +1. +1 is about to finish up, and we can go straight into +2 from here. So in a head-to-head fight, UED's army, his Stalkers are going to be better than the Stalkers of Geralt. That is true, but that's why we have these Immortals. The Immortals, they make up for the fact that Geralt, he's going to have like worse upgrades, maybe even lower Stalker count. The Immortals do so much here for the army of Geralt. Oh no! Meanwhile, across of the Adepts, they get in once again. Ay, ay, ay. 2 Adepts into the main, 5 more workers go down, and we still have Adepts threatening that natural as well. UED Soldier, he's in position, but as we can see, despite his army, he still is unable to preserve his workers, and he's falling further behind here in that economy. +2 is on the way. Geralt, he's taking his 3rd. UED Soldier still only on 2 bases. Hallucination Scout does confirm the 3rd, and now UED Soldier, he has to make a choice. Does he try to get into a 3rd base despite being so far behind in the timing of the 3rd, or do we double down and go all in? When it comes to the gateways, yeah, we're going for a Gateway Explosion. We're teching up, actually. We're going up into a Robotics Bay. Very interesting. This is a way to come back, but we are still going to be behind economically. We're going for Glaive. Oh my god. We're going for Glaive Adepts. It looks like we're going for a 2 base. Or wait, there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on right now. Okay. So we have a Gateway Explosion. We still don't have a 3rd base. We have 2 Robos, by the way. 2 Robos in production. 3 Robos in total to go for triple Disruptor production, which is wild. And we're going for Glaives. Unfortunately, Geralt is here. Geralt has arrived. We're going to knock down that front door. Now, the goal here for Geralt is not to break the natural. It is to contain, to deny the 3rd base over and over again, to contain UED Soldier to 2 bases and just get further and further ahead economically. He doesn't have to push in. Wait, what? We're going into triple Colossus production? Oh my, what's happening right now? We're making 3 Colossi at a time. So I'm a little bit concerned because we can't really sustain this. We're going to make 3 Colossi. I don't think we can make like another wave though. We can't make 6. We just don't have the money for it. Especially if we're going to be going for a warping of Adepts. There's a lot of tech going on right now. There's a lot of tech on 2 bases. I don't know if we can really sustain ourselves, and Geralt, he will have the larger army. As a result, shield batteries, cannons on the way back at home. UED Soldier doing his best Skillus impression. Skillus, one of the few top tier Protoss players that does go Colossus in PvP. Colossus, they have their place. They're kind of like, they're an alternate way to deal with charge lots. Essentially, that's kind of what they are. They do some sustained splash damage. It's good stuff. I mean, it's okay. But behind this, Disruptors are on the way. Geralt, he's already getting into Disruptors, and his opponent into Colossi. I have to favor Geralt's army composition here. Peek off a unit. Rotating around, Prism's going to be threatening that main. UED Soldier is going to be pushing out. And this is what I was concerned about. Like, this was a pretty big investment, and we can only afford to make that first wave of Colossi. We are moving out. Geralt's going to recall back home, getting a 4th. Disruptors have arrived, making 2 disruptors at a time here for Geralt, and he can sustain himself. He can just pump out, or continue to pump out these disruptors, and UED Soldier's all in. It's all or nothing here for the green Protoss. Never goes up. At the same time, the Adepts, they get into the natural. We gotta go, but we gotta send it. That's a kill, not a cancel on the Nexus. Not a bad start. But we gotta keep on pushing, and pushing into disruptors is just so difficult. One disruptor does get caught out. Nova goes off, picks off some of those Adepts. So we're gonna be pushing into a concave shield batteries, cannons. It's all set up. Overcharge is gonna be popped. We blinked. The Immortal's exposed, and Geralt, he's gonna be able to collapse on this army. Another big Nova as well. Does not connect. Oh my god, just barely. But we can focus on the Colossi one after the other. Looks like one Colossus is barely going to be able to hold on. The Stalkers, they push through. But here come the Immortals. Here comes the rest of the army. We still have Disruptors. The Prism has arrived to reinforce. Ooh, the Nova connects with the Colossus, something that you don't see too often. And the final Colossi is going to go down, and that's going to be all that we had left. We have a couple of Stalkers remaining. We are blinking our hearts out, but against Immortals, there's no winning this fight. GG will get called, and Geralt will tie up this. Will take the series, sorry, 2-1. GG. The hell did we just watch? GG, well played. I do appreciate that UAD Soldier, he did take a different route. He had a much more macro-oriented playstyle. I mean, hey, he took a natural. He took a natural for the first time this series. Mad props here to UAD Soldier. I like how he played the series out. But unfortunately, the Adept harass was just too much to deal with. So many workers went down, and we saw that UAD Soldier just could not take a third. I don't know if he wanted to, but I do think he did. He did want to take a third base. Eventually, he realized how far behind he was when he saw the third of his opponent, and he just doubled down. Bam. Mass Robo, Glaives, big 2-base all in. UED was forced into that situation, didn't want to be there, and a lot of that did come down to the harassment here of Geralt. Really good as well for Geralt to adjust as well on the fly. Winding it back, I don't know if you remember, but Geralt, he went for an Observer into a Immortal with his Robo first. He was going for an Immortal after the Observer. And then after he realized that his opponent was expanding, he cancelled the Immortal, didn't make it, and went straight into a War Prism instead. He knew that he didn't need Immortals. His opponent was being economic, and instead, harassing with Adepts would kind of bear him like more fruit. You know, it would be more impactful. And yeah, Geralt, he was so quick to adjust, so quick to respond, and yeah, in the end, GG, well played. Geralt did take it, but wasn't the easiest of games. So a big shout out to UED Soldier. Did well for himself. And yeah, I think that was one of my first times casting him as a player, and I like what I see. I think some of it was a little bit crazy and a little bit wild, but I can get behind it, and I look forward to seeing more of UED Soldier in the future. I look forward to it. As Geralt, he's going to be advancing on, I believe, into the semifinals. We're covering quarterfinals matches at the moment, so Geralt advances on. Meanwhile, we have another quarterfinals match, another PvP. It's a lot of Protoss. But it's okay, I like it, I like it. Especially when there's a lot of aggression and a lot of mind games, I can get behind a Protoss versus Protoss. Easily. And it is going to be 2 big names that we're familiar with, 2 regulars in our own tournaments. We do host the Sparkling Tuna Cup every 2 weeks, and we have had quite a rise of kind of participation from some of these European regions, like kind of the CIS regions, and yeah, Rostock, Middle VK, Gref, Night Phoenix, of course. A lot of them have kind of joined us and have become regulars, and yeah, it's good to see them again here. Good to see them once again. But we'll see how this will turn out. Rostock, I do feel like he's a quote-unquote newer face. Like, he's been very active. Rostock has been very active in the online tournament scene. We see him week after week, time and time again. So it's really cool to see him again, participating more, and he has been improving a lot here over the past year. But MindoVK is more of an old school name. He is more of a namestay here in the European StarCraft scene. So we'll see if Rostock can fight back. If he can, make it into the semifinals. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Hecate, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing CSO Esports. It is Rostock. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player from, or representing Psystorm Gaming. It is MindoVK. Here we go. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Again, this is not the first time that we've casted these two face-off. As we did misplace that gateway. A little bit unfortunate for Rostock, but it's okay. It's all good. Did have to cancel that gate. But overall, we have seen these two duke it out. Historically, MindoVK has been the stronger player, but at the same time, Rostock has been making a lot of leaps and bounds and improving quite a lot over the past couple of years. It's been really cool to see him grow as a player. And again, we'll see how he can perform here against more of an old school player like MindoVK. Mindo, he has actually been very active streaming as well. Very often when he plays in our tournaments, he's also streaming his POV. I think he may have been casting a little bit as well, just in general, but been a lot more active on his Twitch channel, which is always great to see. Really cool to see him, again, interacting with the community, with the chats, with the people, not just playing. Always do appreciate it. For now, though, we're getting into our openers. Just like the last PvP, 2 gate openers here from both Rostock and MindoVK. 2 gateways, and as soon as the Cybercore finishes, we should be getting eyes on what first 2 units come out. And it is going to be double Stalker from Rostock, and we have a Stalker Sentry opener here from MindoVK. Okay, so a bit of a safer opener from our blue Protoss. We mentioned in the previous series, but Sentry openers are just a really safe way to open up, just to make sure you can scout and get a read on what your opponent is up to. Meanwhile, his opponent going for a double Stalker, a much more kind of solid and robust opener instead. In a head-to-head fight, of course, Rostock, he can achieve a little bit more, as he will have more DPS. The Stalkers are just getting in position just to make sure that we're safe and sound, to deny any kind of adepts moving out or anything like that. And Rostock, he just goes straight for the expansion. You know, no proxy pylons. As opposed to the previous PvP, this is a little bit more sane. This is a little bit more by the book. And no! Mindo did misplace that pylon. Does have to kill it. Unfortunately, at the same time, Rostock rocks up from behind, focusing down that Stalker. He's going to be able to get a kill. Just barely doesn't. Oh my god, and Rostock overextended. He doesn't get the Stalker, and he loses his own. But at the same time, this was a brutal start. A few missteps here and there for both players. Rostock earlier misplaces Gateway. MindoVK misplaces Pylon, but this was a more brutal mistake here because it did delay his expansion. It did delay his Nexus. So Rostock will have the slightly better economy. Hallucination Scout comes in, does confirm the Blink Stalker opener from our red Protoss player. Meanwhile, MindoVK getting into a Twilight Council of his own, but it is a little bit later than his opponents. Hallucination does confirm the expansion. Rostock, he was a little bit concerned that maybe it was going to be a one-base all-in, but now he confirms that he's fine, and yeah, he cancels the shield battery. He knows he does not need the shield battery. He's safe and sound back at home. So Rostock's just trying to make sure he's as efficient as possible. Meanwhile, across the map, we do have, again, Blink on the way. There is going to be a window where Rostock has Blink and his opponent doesn't. He will have that kind of upgrade advantage. But a big reason as to why the Twilight Council was delayed is because we are also going for that faster robo. Observer scouting, yes, but we could even just go straight into Immortal production just to try to have a more robust army as well. So MindoVK, he's investing in tech. Meanwhile, Rostock just throws down a third. And he's already ahead when it comes to the economy, and Rostock wants to extend that lead. Oh, as we commit to the shade. Force field is thrown down, but the Eps, they slip on through. Aye, 2-3 probes going to be going down. Not too bad, and just like that, Middle VK, he's catching up in the worker count. Little does he know, though, that there's also a third. He has yet to see it, Middle is yet to scout it. As Rostock is going to be moving out. So just updating the title. Just updating the Twitch title as we are settling into this game. And again, I think I was alluding to it earlier, but yeah, we have a very different outlook in this PvP. Very different dynamic compared to the last one. The last one was hyper aggression, you know, constantly in each other's face. This time, Rostock, he just wants a better economy, you know, he's just slowly expanding, taking a natural, taking a third, saturating his bases. Likewise, Middle VK, ooh, doubling down, throwing down 2 more gateways, 3 more gateways. Mindle, he did see the third base earlier, and this is looking more and more like a 2-base all-in. It's going to be 6 gates in total. Immortal production is continuing here for Mindle VK, so he's going to have a very hefty army. Once he starts to move out, we're going to be seeing a War Prism alongside this, and there it is, War Prism is on the way. So we have a 2-base all-in coming in. Rostock, he scouts, he does see the gateway explosion. He also sees the lack of third base at the triangular third. He needs to confirm at the linear third. He is denied the scout, but he should realize what's going on. Shield battery's on the way, and Rostock's moving out. He needs to slow this down. He needs to try to pick off whatever he can in the center of the map. Buy time for the rest of his immortals. He's going to be pushing up this ramp. Mindle, though, in position. The immortals have been revealed. We confirmed the lack of third. And Rostock has to be very careful not to lose too much, as he does have to respect this army. Ooh, we'll be losing one of those stalkers. Trading 1 for 1, not bad. So far, we're both on 0-0 upgrades, +1 on the way for Rostock. But the better concave, the new command. 1 stalker goes down. Once again, trading 2 for 1 this time. Force fields have been thrown down as well, but we have reinforcements. We have the shield battery, we have the overcharge. Rostock, he just has to hold. That's all he needs to do. Here we go, another wave of reinforcements. Again, Middle VK completely all in with this. Good force fields from both players. The Immortal is going to be trapped. And Rostock, he has to commit to the fight. He doesn't have a War Prism. He cannot save that Immortal. No, we dive on top of it. The Immortal is going to go down. Rostock, with the power of those 2 immortals, he can maybe break through, but at the same time, he's up against so many stalkers. The overcharge has been popped. Reinforcing immortals are on the way, and it looks like Rostock, he's going to shut this down. He flicks on forward, takes down the final immortal. GG gets called, and Rostock will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played, and that's not a bad start here for Rostock. Again, I was mentioning earlier that I still kind of favor Mindle here, like coming into it. I feel like, I mean, maybe it's just because Mindle's more on an international team on Sidestorm Gaming, but I feel like a lot of eyes are on him, and a lot more eyes are on him, I should say, and he's been able to achieve a little bit more, especially in these online tournaments. So yeah, solid game there out of Rostock. Solid game overall. Nothing too fancy, right? Like, he was just taking advantage of his economy, getting to a fast third, and he forced the all-in. He didn't just force the all-in, but remember, Rostock, he was able to see it coming ahead of time. Very important scouts. Very important hallucination scouts from Rostock. He confirmed the all-in coming across the map. He was also able to slow the army down in the center of the map as well. So really nice handling of the situation. And now we're getting to game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the red Protoss player representing Sidestorm Gaming. Down in this series, it is Mindle VK. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Ukrainian Protoss, the blue Protoss representing CSO Esports. It is Rostock. Here we go. Beautiful. Sorry. I was just tweeting out that we have gone live. As we're settling into our second game here. And again, so far, Rostock up in the series, not looking too bad at all. Very solid game number one. And now the onus is on Mindle here to fight back, to bounce back in the series. So far, 2-gate opener from both players. Probes going to be scouting. They do pass each other in the night. And their goals here to try to get a read on the starting units and on whether or not there is a second pylon in the main. We can see that there is. Second pylon here for Mindle, second pylon for Rostock. Everything is on the up and up. Everything is looking as it should. Where do we go from here? So far, double Stalker openers from both players. This time, no sentries. This makes a lot of sense. So, for those that are curious, compared to Hecate, for example, Hecate is a very large map. Very macro-oriented. Because it's so large, it can sometimes be difficult to scout, so you need to get across the map as quickly as possible. Here on Oceanborn, very short rushes to spy ground. You can be very aggressive, very assertive. So, focusing on Stalker production makes sense just so you can keep up with the aggression of your opponent and you don't get caught off guard. That's the scary thing about going for a sentry opener, is that you do lack a lot of DPS early on. The sentry itself is very fragile, and if your opponent's in your face, then things can snowball very quickly in favor of your opponent. Here we go. Stalkers are moving up. Rostock going for a Robo opener. That's a third gateway, by the way, and Rostock shifting gears completely. We're going for a one base all in. As I said before, on Oceanborn, makes sense. Probes are moving out. They do come across each other. Probes have been spotted. Rostock, he's on the chase. He's on the hunt. At the same time, though, Middle VK going across the map. Probe is going to fall. We do have Mindle marauding out here, looking for any stray units. Both players being very active. Mindle, he's going for the expansion. He's going for the Nexus. Little does he know that his opponents will have the better production, as well as the better tech. We'll have the worst economy, but I don't think he cares. So far, some big hits coming in. Mindle VK, he doesn't lose anything, but he does take a lot of hull damage, as he does retreat. But seeing all these Stalkers still is not a tell. He has a comparable Stalker count. He's getting his natural up and running. We have a shield battery on the low ground. Meanwhile, Rostock, he's going straight for that prism. He's going to be sending everything across the map. Looking at the units tab here, Rostock, he does have the slight Stalker advantage. He's cutting workers at 23. And again, he's all in. Here we go, the army's moving out at the same time, though. Middle VK, he does catch some of these Stalkers. Oh, he's going to get one. Does get one Stalker. He forces the army to turn back around as well, buying so much time. This is a one-way trip, though. There's no way out of this. There is no blink. We're forced to recall. 1 or 2 Stalkers go down. But Middle VK now knows what's going on. He sees all the gateways, sees the Robo, sees the lack of expansion, and now we need to defend. There we go. Second shield batteries on the way. The Robo just now starting. Twilight Council is not going to help. Unfortunately, Middle VK, he was getting ready for a longer game. Blink is on the way, but it's not going to finish in time. The Robo is late. And here comes the all-in from Rostock. Looking at the units tab, we have double the Stalker count of Mindle. And we even have more on the way. At the same time, Mindle is going for his own Adept Harass. He will get into the main. He can cripple the economy. But what about the army? Oh, as we can one-shot some of these Stalkers. First Stalker goes down. Shield battery as well. Mindle, he just evacuates the natural. He knows he cannot defend. At the same time, those 2 Adepts, they're going ham in the main. One-shotting probes left and right. Likewise, Rostock pushing into the main base as well. There are sentries. There are force fields. So far, the juggling is looking good. We do have high ground vision. And we will focus down the gateways. That's the other brutal thing here. We only have 2 gateways to warp in for Mindle. Now we're down to 1. We're down to a single gateway. Stalkers are falling. The Immortal has arrived. We have the Immortal, but where are the shield batteries? 1 gets focused down, the second as well. Which means there is no overcharge. The boys, they have to be pulled. And we're focusing down the Immortal. He wants it. And he's going to get it. The Immortal will fall. Workers are falling, which it doesn't matter too much. The probes aren't too impactful here, but Rostock is being forced back. The juggling is too good. He's keeping the Stalkers alive. And that's what matters most. He still has momentum on his side. Going for another warp in. Mindle going to try and deny it, but there's just too many Stalkers. Too much DPS. The Prism falls, but Rostock just has too much. Barely has too much, might I add. Across the map, he was able to maintain himself, did defend. We have 3 Stalkers to the 1 of Mindle. Mindle, he's down to 9 workers, but he has an Immortal. Oh my god. We have an Immortal. We hold. I mean, we kind of hold. We force back the army, but we have reinforcements on the way. The Adepts, they're shading across the map. We're going straight for the Immortal as well. It's going to take quite a bit to DPS down the Immortal with Adepts, but we're getting there. We are getting there as the Stalker is going to fall. Mindle down to 10 workers. And we can just ignore the Immortal. We can just go straight for the probe kills. Yeah, that's exactly what we do. One-shotting probes. Another 4 workers going down. And additional Stalkers have arrived. Oh, the force field. Cutting up the army, taking down another Stalker. And this is all that Mindle VK has left. 1 Immortal and 7 probes. And to be fair, 1 Immortal is nothing to scoff at, but Rostock, he's expanding. Getting into his own Immortal production. Settling into his own economy. And yeah, Rostock, we've seen some kind of different faces here of our Protoss. We saw earlier on Hecate, a very macro-oriented player here on Oceanborn. Hyper-aggressive. 1 base all in. Just completely catching Mindle VK off guard. By the time Mindle realized what was going on, it was a little bit too late. Again, Blink did finish, but Blink did not help at all in that fight. Because it finished too late. Nexus is going to fall. And Rostock, he is up in bases. We're going to commit. Oh, not quite. We do pull back. We do pull back, and Mindle, he's just hoping, praying here for a miracle. Again, he's still in the dark. He doesn't know that his opponent has expanded. If it was 1 base versus 1 base, then maybe we can try to pull something off, but for now, don't really have much. Observer's on the way. I wonder, maybe, is the plan to kill the Observer and then go for a Dark Shrine? Is that like the play? I'm curious. Yeah, we rally to the Observer. We want it. Unfortunately, the Observer does escape in time. Rostock, he escapes the clutches here of his opponent. Still has vision of the main base. Yeah, Rostock, he's just building himself up. We're up to 3 Immortals at this point. Twilight Council's on the way to get into Blink. We're still chasing down that Observer. We want it. We're not going to get it. GG gets called. Again, it's just too much working against our red Protoss. And Rostock will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. A very impressive run here. Very impressive performance by Rostock. And what I really appreciate out of this series is that we did see 2 different sides of him, right? We saw like a really greedy defensive macro style on Hecate, and then an all-in on Oceanborn. You know, showing us that again, Rostock has kind of a wide breadth of play available at his disposal. He can whip out the macro or the cheese at a moment's notice. So really well done here by Rostock. My condolences to Mindle VK. Again, I do want to say that he was the favorite player coming into it. We have seen Mindle pop off from time to time, especially in our own tournaments as well. But unfortunately, this week, he does end up falling here in the quarterfinals. Does get knocked out, but I'm sure we'll be seeing more of Mindle in the coming days when it comes to the IEM Katowice Europe qualifiers, future Hatchery Cups, even future Sparkling Tuna Cups. So I'm sure we'll be seeing more of him as Rostock advances on to the semifinals. And speaking of, that is what we have next. I know it's been pure PvP, it's pure Protoss versus Protoss so far, but I promise we have some other races. Up next, Rostock, he advanced on to the semifinals, and he's going to be facing off against Wayne in those semis. Wayne, of course, being one of the best Zerg players in all of Europe. I would say probably top 4? Top 4 Zerg? Maybe, yeah, I would say around there in Europe. He's definitely one of the best that we have to offer, and is going to be coming in as a heavy hitter here. Just like I mentioned earlier, Geralt would be a heavy hitter, likewise Wayne as well. As I say that, I mean, we already had a slight upset earlier with UED Soldier forcing Geralt into the ace match. So we'll see if some of these other players can knock Wayne down. For now, though, we are reaching the halfway mark. We've reached the semifinals. Ahead of us is the 3rd place match and the finals as well. I'm going to be going on a short break. I'm running out of water and my throat it's killing me. I don't know why. I'm going to go make some tea and take a moment. Everyone, take a moment to hydrate your hydrants, stretch your roaches, massage your marines, drain your disruptors, and we're going to be back in a couple of minutes. With the semifinals, with something that is not a PvP, which is wild. I know. Is that legal? Is that allowed? Is that in the tournament rules? I don't know. We'll be back with Wayne versus Rostock after this short break. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that Brood War OST, because we have returned with the semifinals of Hatchery Cup number 10. Again, a monthly open tournament, open to all, and again, centered around a more friendly European time slot. And yeah, we're just sinking our teeth into the semis. We already saw a couple of really good PvPs. We saw Rostock rise, Geralt as well. We even had some good performances out of both Mindle as well as, Mindle VK as well as UED Soldier. But now we are reaching the upper echelons of the tournament here in the semifinals, and we're actually able to cast someone that's not a Protoss. Crazy. It's crazy. It's wild. It is going to be Wayne versus Rostock. Here we go. And game one going to be taking place on hard lead. Vámonos. Vámonos. Again, Wayne, of course, one of the best Zerg players in all of Europe, but we have seen upsets in the past, and we have seen a lot of these big Protoss names, or even these other Protoss names like your Mindle VKs, Rostocks, Grefs, Night Phoenix. They can go toe-to-toe with a player of the caliber of Wayne. They've done so in the past. Can they do so again? We're here to find out. As here we go, we're diving into game number one, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of hard lead, we have the red Protoss player representing CSO Esports. It is Rostock. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the blue Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle, the ace player of Starlight Twinkle. It is Wayne. Again, we have been having the luxury of casting and featuring Wayne on this channel on a weekly basis in WTL. He's, of course, the cornerstone of Starlight Twinkle and has had some pretty good success in that tournament so far. Has been able to showcase himself. The team overall, though, has been, I would say, struggling, but we still have a couple of weeks left. A couple of weeks left of the season of winter. So hopefully coming into it, Wayne is going to be in form, not just in WTL, but also leading into DreamHack Atlanta as well. DreamHack is next week, so it's all just ramping up here at the end of the year. It's crazy. We have the end of the round robin stage of WTL. We have the IM Katowice qualifiers, which are tonight, and then we have next week DreamHack Atlanta. It just doesn't stop. Just a very intense period of StarCraft here at the end of the year. And all these players, they all are looking to be in form. I'm sure a lot of players are also going to be traveling for the open bracket of DreamHack Atlanta as well. That's also kind of a big thing that players are getting ready for. But for now, we're kind of easing ourselves into the semifinals. And we have some pretty standard openers. It was a Hatch Gas Pool standard opener here out of Wayne. Likewise, Rostock going for a Gate Expand into the Cyber Core. Everything is looking normal for the time being. We have casted Rostock quite a bit, and I think the last time we casted Rostock against a Zerg player, it was Rostock versus Eba, if I'm not mistaken. And he wasn't looking too bad. It does feel like Rostock is the kind of player that thrives in the mid game, though. Not so much in the early game. So I don't expect to see anything too crazy like a 2-gate opener or a proxy or a cannon rush or anything wild in the early game. I expect to see something a little bit more different in the mid game. And there it is. Twilight Council opener. Here we go. We have our tech of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council. This could go in a couple of different directions. We have already pulled out of gas. This screams Glavid Eps. Probe is going to be racing back home. And the reason why I say Glavid Eps is because we have pulled out of gases. If we pull back in, then this could be something more committed, like 6-gate Glavid Eps, or we could even go into a Dark Shrine alongside this for some DTs. But for now, it should be 4-gate Glaves, which is not all-in, by the way. It is not an all-in opener, not an all-in build, just a way to harass, get across the map, deal some damage, and get eventually into your transition into your third base. As I say that, 3 gates are indeed on the way, so it's going to be 4 gates in total, as 1 is already done, and we should be starting up Glaves momentarily. There it is. Glaves is in production. So 4-gate Glaves. Now, Wayne, it's on him to piece together what's going on. I'm sure he noticed that Warp Gate wasn't delayed. Typically, you delay Warp Gate if you want to go into Stargate play, but it was prioritized. Probe is moving out to take that third base. Ooh, Ling is in position though, and the third is going to be delayed. So Wayne, he has an inkling of what's going on. In a couple of seconds, we should be seeing a safety Roach Warren. For now, though, we are droning. There it is. Roach Horn is thrown down. So Wayne has accurately read that this is a Twilight Council opener. Otherwise, you would not throw it down at the 4-minute mark. It would be too soon and too early. But Wayne, he's aware. He's going to be droning up a little bit further. We want to drone up to around 42, 43-ish. We don't want to go past 45. And then from there, Wayne is going to be building up his Ling and Roach count. There we go. The Adepts, they have been revealed. How many Adepts in total? 9 Adepts, soon to be 10. Now, this is a really interesting variation. Sorry, I should have brought this up earlier. This is a much more economic variation that we have been seeing by quite a number of European Protoss players. I think Strange was one of the first to do it. I'm not too sure if he was the first, but I remember Strange doing it a little bit early on. This is 4-gate Glaive Adepts without the Robo, so no Prison to reinforce. We do get on top of one of those Queens, and we do shade in towards the third base. Lings are in position. Roaches are still on the way. They just started. The Roaches are late, but we do get a good surround. The Queens, they rock up as well, and we will clean this up. The Adepts, they barely get any economic damage. Looking at the Unisauce tab, they got 2 drones in total, only 2 workers for all those Adepts. And now suddenly, Rostock, he loses map control, and Wayne is going to be pushing. He's moving out with his Lings, going to be focusing on droning behind this though. So he's just going to poke and prod, pick off whatever he can, but we have plenty of Adepts here back at home. Rostock, he's going to be safe against the Ling harass. But yeah, what I was trying to bring up earlier is, again, this is 4-gate Glaive Adepts without the Robo, so we can't reinforce. This does mean that we just get a faster third, essentially. That's, I believe, the reasoning or the point of this variation is you get a faster third, which is why it's less committed and much more economic when it comes to all the Glaive Adept builds that are out there. Meanwhile, behind this, we have our follow-up tech. It's going to be a Robo and a Forge for +1, and I imagine Immortal production. We are moving out with a second wave of Adepts, but we're ready for it this time. Oh, the Lings, they do go first around. The Adepts, they barely do slip by. Ooh, as we do cancel the shade. A wise choice. We had a full wall off, and Roaches were ready and waiting. Also going to try and pivot away. Rotate back around towards that third. Queens are in position. Roaches likewise in between the bases. And behind this, Wayne, he's running up to 3-base saturation, getting all of his gases. +1 range is on the way. Roach speed as well. Wayne is just setting up all things Roach. Now, I'm curious if Wayne is going to drone up more than this. I'm curious if he's going to go for 4-base saturation or if he's going to cut workers at 3-base, which wouldn't be a bad choice. Based on the openers so far, Wayne should know that he has quite a lot of momentum at the moment. We have Overlords on the way, and this would be a good moment to just cut workers and make nothing but Roach Ravager and push out with a 3-base saturation, especially on a map like Hard Lead. There it is. Rocks are being knocked down. Wayne, he's done droning. He's droned up to 67. That is it. That is all we need. That is all we have. And now we're looking to go for one big 3-base all-in. Yes, we do have a 4th hatchery, but that is only for larva. I do not expect Wayne intends to actually make any more workers. And the hallucination does confirm this. Rostock knows. Now, knowing is half the battle because it's still going to be a tough defense here on the front lines. We have Adepts and Sentries. We need more than that. Immortals, Disruptors, anything and everything that can go toe-to-toe with Roaches, but we have none of that right now. We're going into Colossi. Oh my god. The Prism, a bit of a miss rally. The Prism does go down, and now we can push. What can stop us? We have Sentries to defend. That's a lot of Sentries. That's a lot of force fields. We can just pile them down. The force fields are going to be falling. Rostock, he's trying his hardest here to hold on to this 4th base. He is going for another Warping of Stalkers. But again, the force fields, they do nothing. They're getting knocked down over and over again. And the Roach Ravager breaks through. It's getting on top of the Sentries. They're falling one after the other. We do have an overcharge trying to keep everything alive. The Colossi finally does arrive. But the Colossus is just not ideal, not against Roach Ravager, as the 4th base has been broken. We're going to be pulling back for a moment. Again, we don't want to overextend. We're going to be consolidating the army and then pushing them forward for a second time. This time going for the 3rd base. We have to be very careful with the Colossus, but again, Wayne, he's snowballing out of control. Up. Does want the Colossus, is going to be zoning it away, and the rest of his army is dealing with the 3rd base. GG gets called. There just is not enough left over, And Wayne will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. Again, a solid game there from Wayne. The Glaive Adept builds from his opponent, even though it wasn't very committed, even though it was a more economic variation of Glaive Adepts, it still did not deal enough damage. Remember, it killed 2 drones. 2 workers went down, and that was, what was that, almost 20 Adepts? It was 10 initially, and then another 10 afterwards. It was a big commitment to these Adepts, and they just didn't pay for themselves, unfortunately. It was a big investment that did not pay off, and it meant that the follow-up tech was delayed, right? The +1, Blink, Immortal Production, Colossus, Disruptors, whatever we wanted to go in afterwards was delayed in favor of these Adepts, and it just wasn't worth it in the end. Wayne, shut it down. GG. And with that, we are now going to be getting into game number 2. Número 2. Solid game there out of Wayne, but I'm sure Rostock has plenty more builds up his sleeve. I imagine we'll be seeing something different from our Protoss. But now though, we're getting into our second game, and spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the blue Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle, leading the series 1-0. It is Wayne. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss representing CSO Esports. It is Rostock. Here we go. Rostock spicing it up last game, going for a Twilight Council opener into Glaive Adepts. I expect to see something different this time. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Stargate opener. That would make plenty of sense here on Oceanborn. Stargate opener into Oracles into a third base. Otherwise, we could do something crazy and go for a Robo opener. That is not unheard of. Robo firsts are, to get into faster Colossus, into even a Disruptor drop, typically. That has fallen out of favor. It's very out of meta, but still viable and an option. We shall see. For now, it is going to be a hatch first, hatch gas pool opener here from Wayne. And likewise, his opponent Rostock going for a gate expand into the Cybercore. So everything looking above board for the time being. Everything looking as it should. No fast gas, no roach rush, no link speed, no 12 pool, no proxy hatch from Wayne, and likewise, no 2-gate opener or shenanigans from Rostock either. Oceanborn wouldn't be a bad map for it, but yeah, we're just easing into it, easing into game 2. It's all good. Second pylon is thrown down in the main base, a pretty interesting location. Based on its location, it could be another Twilight Council, actually. We'll see. We'll see if we go for the Stargate or if we go for something a little bit different. There it is. It is going to be a Stargate. Let's go. Now, it is a little bit closer to the mineral line, which is why I was like, oh, that could be a Twilight Council, actually. But no, it's going to be a Stargate, just a little bit closer to the chest. This is a little bit more efficient economically, just because you have to... The probe has to move out... It doesn't have to move out as far to actually throw down the buildings or throw down the pylon. And we'll see if we go for an Oracle or a Void Ray. They both have their place. Oracle is to harass and get economic damage. Void Ray is to shut down the Overlords and to keep Wayne in the dark. We go. So for now, the Stargate is done. We're just waiting for the first unit of choice, and it is going to be the Oracle. Okay, part of me was, especially after what happened in game 1, part of me was thinking, yo, we could go for that Void Ray. We could try to keep our follow-up hidden, but no, we're just going for the Oracle. Adepts say shading into the natural base. We can focus on some of these drones. We get 2. Pretty good, actually. Pretty good damage. Can we get a third? Up! Up! It's so close. We will get a third drone towards the end, just barely. But now that the Adepts have been killed, now we can move out. That does trigger a big counterattack here from Wayne, going straight for the third base. At the same time, Oracle's moving out. It will miss the Lings. Just barely. And the Lings here of Wayne are designed to delay that third base for as long as possible. And we can see, this is crazy. It's an Oracle first, no Void Ray, into a Twilight Council and Gateways. This is looking like Glaives. I'm really curious. Gonna be recalling the Stalker onto the other side of the wall. The Lings are just wreaking havoc here, forcing quite a bit of damage actually. The Oracle still not finding much. Got one drone kill at the natural, but was forced out. As we pick off another unit. And there it is Glaives. So the reason why I said that this screams Glaives is just because there's no Forge. There's no Forge here from Rostock. He's not thinking further ahead. He's not looking to get into, you know, any kind of +1 or a stronger Gateway army. As +1 upgrades do not affect adepts. I mean, oh god! Oh my god. The Oracle barely does escape, getting 4 worker kills. Not too bad. But yeah, the reason why this is really catching me off guard, usually if we're going for a Glaive Adept follow-up from a Stargate opener, you do get a Void Ray, because you want to kill these Overlords. You want to maintain map control and keep Wayne in the dark. But we didn't. Instead, we went for an Oracle to harass, and that meant that these Lings could wreak havoc. That meant that the Lings, they could do so much across the map. They delayed this third base for so long as well. And before Rostock even pushes, we're already transitioning. Robo and Forge on the way for +1 and Immortal production. It looks like, again, Rostock, he's already aware that these Glaive Adepts aren't going to be able to do too much. He's already working on that next step. Now, there is still potential. We're going for another big warp in, and we're going to be getting up to 11 Adepts. We're going to be shading out, so this is spotted immediately by the Overlord. Wayne, he sees all, he knows all, and he's not going to defend with Roaches. He has a Baleen nest instead. Balings are being morphed in, and Queens are being brought to the table. Lings are amassing. Wayne still on Hatch Tech, actually. Oh my god. I didn't even know. I just assumed that we had a lair. As the Adepts, they come in. Oh, the Balings! The Balings, they do crash in. Big connections on those Adepts. Ay, 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 and we will clean this up. It looks like drones are being targeted down, though. That's going to be 6 workers. Economic damage was dealt. Not too bad. Not too shabby. And I'm a little bit concerned just because Wayne doesn't have a lair. It's just a pure Ling Flood here on Hatch Tech. You don't see this too often. But it could work just because he cleaned up the Adepts. We have the Oracle coming in to harass. There we go. Finally, the lair is on the way. 6-minute 30 lair timing, by the way. Very late. Up. The Oracle does go down at the same time. Wayne, he does pull the trigger. He dives into that mineral line. Good force fields. But the Ling Bane is rolling on in. Yeah, the Lings are going ham, and it looks like we cannot defend against this. The force fields are keeping out the Balings, but not the Lings, and we do connect. GG gets called. There just is not enough at home, and Wayne will take the series 2-0. GG. GG. Wayne in almost full control of that game. Again, just, yeah, really interesting build choice, or build order. Maybe that's a better way to put it. From Rostock to get into the Glaive Adepts the way that he did. Unfortunately, he just wasn't really secure at home. He was delayed. The third base was delayed. Like, there was a lot working against Rostock. And by the time the Adepts arrived, Wayne was more than ready for it. And after he shut it down, you are vulnerable to a counterattack. And yeah, Rostock just did not have enough to defend back at home, even though there wasn't a lair, even though there was, we were just, again, on Hatch Tech Ling Bane. More than enough. More than enough to break through and to snowball out of control. And with that, Wayne will advance on to the grand finals. GG, well played, Wayne. He advanced on to the finals, where he's going to be waiting for his next opponent. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the replays of the second semifinals. I would have loved to have seen them. Some really big names. Again, we're big fans of some of these players, and yeah, unfortunately, we don't have the replays, but I can let you know that the second semifinals was actually Geralt versus Night Phoenix. Geralt versus Night Phoenix did face off, and that looks like a lot of fun. That would have been amazing to see. And from my understanding, I believe Geralt did overcome Night Phoenix, and Geralt has advanced on to the finals as well to face off against Wayne. But I did mention earlier at the start of the broadcast that this event has something very special, that isn't really done too often in online weekly tournaments. There is a bronze match. There is a third place match. So before we can sink our teeth into the finals, which is going to be Wayne versus Geralt, we can sink our teeth into the third place match, which is Rostock, who just went down, up against Night Phoenix. Let's go. Oh, the PvPs. They continue. We're back. We're back home, essentially. Night Phoenix versus Rostock. And I believe it is a best of 3. And again, the big reason why there's a third place match is because there is actually a prize pool differential between first, second, third, and fourth. So there is still money on the line. These players, unfortunately, they cannot progress in the tournaments, but they can earn more of that cash money. That's what we're here for. That's what we are here for in this PvP. So again, unfortunately, we missed out on Night Phoenix versus Geralt, but at least we're here with Night Phoenix versus Rostock. Let's go. Let us go. And we're going to be diving into game number 1. On Alcyone. Oh, and I have to change the UI. Do have to... give me a moment. One moment here and bam! There we go. We're getting into our third place match, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Alcyone, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the yellow Protoss representing hot-headed gaming. It is Night Phoenix. And spawning in the bottom left, we have his opponent, we have the other Ukrainian player, the Ukrainian Red Protoss representing CSO Esports. It is Rostock. So again, both these players did fall in the semifinals, but they're still duking it out here to determine who is third and who is fourth in this tournament. We still have our PvP, and I am ready for it. Again, historically, we've been casting a lot of these two players, and Night Phoenix is typically the aggressor. He's typically a very aggressive Protoss and very willing to go for one-base all-ins and proxies and cheeses and just, yeah, hyper-aggression from him. We've even seen Night Phoenix take down Cristiano in such a fashion. Cristiano was a little bit upset about it, but I'll always remember, I think Night Phoenix, he DT'd Cristiano to death. And I remember, like, as he was GTing out, he was like, really? He's like, you doing this to me? Este Night Phoenix. So he is a Phoenix of the Night, and he is not one to hold back. And speaking of, we have mined through the mineral patches here, and we are going for a proxy pylon. Now, this is really interesting. One, it's very common to proxy on Alcyone because of this area here. You can go for a proxy Stargate so close to your opponent. But the downside is that it's also really easy to scout. All you have to do is send your probe over towards this kind of mineral location, and as soon as you see that mineral patches have been mined out, you know 100% that there's a proxy on this side. You know, it's a great way to just determine what is coming your way. He's checking, and Rostock does confirm that the second pylon is missing. Second pylon should be in the main, and it isn't. So we're going to quickly check the natural, and immediately you can see the rally here. We are checking that mineral wall, and we should get eyes on the fact that it has been opened up. Meanwhile, the proxy is going to be a Twilight Council. I just spoke about how we have seen Night Phoenix proxy DT people like Cristiano before and win. So that could be on the table here. Now, what's really interesting about this location, it's very if you're proxying this side, and we have confirmation, so Rostock, he knows that something's here. It's very common to go for a proxy Stargate, and that's where we're going. We're heading over in this direction to look for the Stargate. But there isn't a Stargate. Because there isn't a Stargate, it's actually going to be very hard to actually find this Twilight Council. Stalkers have arrived. Third gateway is on the way. It's going to be a one-base all-in out of Night Phoenix. It could be, yep, it's going to be 3 gateways. Blink is on the way, and we should throw down a proxy 4th gateway. So it's going to be 1-base 4-gate Blink out of Night Phoenix. Meanwhile, we're still looking. The probe is still scouring the map, and it looks like we will eventually come across this. But by the time we do, is it going to be too late? Rostock back at home, going for a very nice defensive setup. He has a robo and a 3rd gateway on the way. This is exactly what you want to be doing if you believe you're being all in. With that Robo, we can start Immortal production. We're going for an Observer. Oh my god, we're changing our mind! That was a Prism into Observer into Immortal. Immortals are ideal here. As we're trying to set up a surround. Night Phoenix, flying too close to the sun, does lose one of his Stalkers, is going to lose a second! Big pickles here from Rostock. Shuts down 2 Stalkers. Meanwhile, the 4th gateway's on the way. Stalkers are warping in. And Rostock has to be careful not to be dragged too far out of position. We are turning back around. Looks like the scouting probe did get eyes on the proxy gateway. We know, we're aware. Blink not done yet. The Stalkers are going to be actually facing off against each other. Trading 1 for 1, 2 for 1. But reinforcements have arrived, and Rostock, he is going to be able to completely shut this down. Behind this, we're going for a reinforcing flank. Night Phoenix trying to get the surround. And he does hold on to this position. But it all changed when the Immortal arrived. The first Immortal has made it here for Rostock. Blink is about to finish up, and we have to be careful because Night Phoenix, as soon as he gets high ground vision, he can try to bypass this wall and head straight into the main. That's typically done with a Sentry. You warp in a Sentry or even an Adept. The Adept can shade in, or the Sentry can give you high ground vision with the hallucination. But now Night Phoenix is going to check the front door, and he checks, oh my god, with his face! The Immortal is here. We go ham on those Stalkers. None of them go down yet. Good blinks. Oh, but one Stalker does fall. A second Immortal arrives. And there's no breaking Rostock, not anymore. Meanwhile, there are those Adepts that we spoke about. Again, Adepts, they can shade up the ramp into the main base and provide high ground vision. That's going to be the goal here for Night Phoenix. As we're getting into Glaives. Oh my god. Glaive Adepts are on the way. Rostock the first to expand. Oh. As we are in position, we deny the shade. Clutch moves here from Rostock. Night Phoenix does not get high ground vision. And Rostock, the longer this goes on, the better it is for our red Protoss. Additional Adepts are on the way. Now, if the Adept count gets high enough, we can DPS through that shield battery. We get in! No shot. We do get in. Immediately making our way towards that cliff. More Adepts are shading into the main base as well. Chaos is ensuing. We get into the mineral line. But Night Phoenix does get out of there. He gets 2 probes and shades out. Oh, a very adventurous blink. Trades a Stalker for a Stalker. Additional Adepts are on the way. The wall is completing. When we commit. Uh-oh. Yeah, we have to recall the hell out of here. That was a rough shade from Night Phoenix. Recalling back home. And that means that he only has half his army to work with. Here we go. The Stalker Immortal has arrived. We're going to be able to depower this gateway. Ay, ay, ay. Rostock's pushing out across the map. Back at home, Adepts have arrived as well, but we have a full wall. We may have a natural, but we're not mining from it. Instead, Rostock focusing on his push. Focusing on his counter all-in. Night Phoenix trying to take the goal base. Oh my god. Bold move out of Night Phoenix. Bold move. Here we go. Rostock, he has arrived. A good amount of Adepts are waiting for him. But in a head-to-head fight, I don't know if that's going to be enough. The Immortals are going ham. Good target firing on the Prism. War Prism is going to fall. The Immortals are having a really hard time DPSing down those Adepts. But they get the Stalkers, and now only Adepts remain. GG gets called, and Rostock will take game number 1. Whew. GG. Oh my god. Again, it wasn't a bad kind of build out of Night Phoenix, going for the kind of hidden, the proxy Twilight Council into the all-in, but Rostock read him like a book, just read him so well, going for his own defensive robo, his 3rd gateway, really solid defense, really good reaction out of Rostock. He may not have scattered what was coming his way, but he was able to anticipate it, and Rostock does take that first game. GG. GG, well played. Ooh, able to survive, and then of course break free against the all-in. And now we're getting into game number 2. Ooh, gonna be on Oceanborn. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand. I'll have to change the cat. Hold on. There we go. Un momento. Beautiful. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the yellow Protoss representing hot-headed gaming. Ooh, it is Night Phoenix. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the other Ukrainian Protoss, the red Protoss representing CSO Esports, leading the series 1-0. It is Rostok. Here we go. The PvPs do continue. This can still go either way. Again, a solid game there out of Rostok. If you remember at the start of the series, we were talking about how Night Phoenix is just like very prone to being hyper aggressive and going for an all-in. That makes a lot of sense. Will we be seeing more all-ins throughout the course of this series, though? That's the question. Do we see that again for a second time? Not saying he would go for a 1-base 4 Blink Stalker 2 games in a row, but Proxy Robo, maybe Proxy Stargate. There are other options. Even Proxy Dark Templar. It's all on the table. All on the table. Is this a Master Cup or low MMR? This is an open tournament, but it is dominated by GMs. Both Night Phoenix and Rostok are pro players. They're both GMs, both like 6K-ish, if not more. So you can participate. It's open to anyone. Sure, we don't disavow other players, of course, from competing and signing up and being a part of this. Always champion it. Always champion it. So yeah, if you're interested in competing, then I believe there's a Discord server. I believe there is a Hatchery Cup Discord that you can join and that you can be a part of. You'll be notified for the next tournament. As is stated in the title, this is a monthly tournament, so every single month there is a Hatchery Cup, so you can get involved. Can get involved. And again, even if you're, you know, bronze or gold or diamond, like, I mean, you know, you can still take part anyway. Like, if you're interested, if you want to play against a pro player, if you want to play against GMs, then you can gain some experience and maybe even learn from some of those replays yourself. Or just have some fun and enjoy yourself. Maybe even try to cheese someone out, you know? It's possible. It's happened before. I'll always remember, like, Zest, he's died to cannon rushes before. To, like, NA ladder heroes. It's happened. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. For now, we do see Night Phoenix just going for a 2-gate opener into a third base. Likewise, Rostok going for a... Oh my god, we are going for our own all-in instead. I'm ready for it. Let's go. How the turns do table here. As Rostok, he throws down a third gateway and the Robo. We have a proxy pylon as well, just so we can try to reinforce across the map. Night Phoenix is going to be pushing. Oh, and is expanding as well. Ay, ay, ay. Not like this. Stalkers are going to be clashing in the center of the map. Again, Night Phoenix not fully aware of what's been going on. Is forced to recall. 2 Stalkers go down. And here come the reinforcements. Rostok, Luna, Snowball out of control. Night Phoenix immediately does cancel that Nexus. Throws down a shield battery, going for a Void Ray back at home and a third gateway. So far, a really good reaction here out of Night Phoenix. We do have the Oracle getting across the map. But what can we get done? Shield battery is done. We can go for the stasis. There it is. Stasis trap into the main base. Do we have a reaction? We do, but it's late. Up. Ooh, we do catch a good chunk of those probes. Very nicely done here by Night Phoenix. Meanwhile, across the map, Rostok, he's going to be committing. The prism! No, it's sieged! We're up! Unamas, we just barely shut down the Prism. It will go down. Void Ray has arrived. We have the shield battery, we have the overcharge, and Night Phoenix, he's holding. Oh my god. Again, it was a very, very wild reaction here. Very chaotic start. It took a while for Night Phoenix to realize what was going on. Immediately, so fast, so quick to cancel that Nexus, to start up additional gateways, the shield battery as well, the Void Ray. And Night Phoenix, he's holding onto his main. Second Void Ray is in production. With the death of that War Prism, Rostock does lose a lot of momentum. But he's not slowing down. He's not stopping. Rostock, he's still all in. The Void Ray is going to get shut down. 2 shots do bring down that Void Ray. Second Void Ray has arrived. Once again, Rostock trying to go for the dive. Is unable to. And is going to be punished for it. Leading out so many Stalkers. Behind this, Night Phoenix does have the better economy. And is still building up that Void Ray count back at home. The Oracle coming back in. There are some Stalkers in position. We're going for the stasis. Can we get it? Up! It's going to be close. And it will connect. The Oracle goes down, but we do get another big chunk of probes. Cutting the economy in half for Rostock. Night Phoenix is fighting back, is breaking free. Adept's going to be shading across... No, sorry. I assumed it would be shading across the map. Both armies going to be dancing with each other. Rostock again is the first to expand. Is taking his natural. Night Phoenix 1 step behind when it comes to his own natural timing. Still 1 step behind, but there we go. It is on the way. We're pushing in once again. We will focus down both Void Rays, but we're losing a lot in the process. Is it going to be enough? We're down to only a handful of Stalkers. Rostock, he's breaking through. There's only 2 Stalkers left. Now only 2 Stalkers left. We do barely warp in another wave. It's so close. Rostock, he's down to 4 Stalkers remaining. Another Void Ray arrives just in time. We have the shield battery. Shield battery finishes up. We're trying desperately to hold on. Rostock up to 7 Stalkers. And the Void Ray refuses to die. Finally, it's going to be focused down. But again, cut the Stalker count in half. Night Phoenix is surviving. Now, Rostock can start worker production. There we go. He's getting into some probes. Still trying to force the issue. Gets another Stalker. Yeah, boys, they have to be pulled. I'm going to try to soak some damage. Adept's coming in from behind. And there we go. We have the overcharge. Nexus finishes up just in time. Night Phoenix barely holds on once again. These defenses have been so clutch. And the Adepts, they get across the map. They can one-shot probes. Ooh, but they do try to get into the main. There we go. Probes are falling one after the other. It's going to be 3 worker kills. Can we get a 4th? Oh, not quite. Rostock has taken an economic lead. And we need to take a moment to calm things down. We need to calm down and take stock. For now, there is no Twilight Council for Rostock. He has a Robo and he can commence Immortal production, but for the time being, he's still just hyperfixated on warping and gateway units. And there it is. Twilight Council now on the way for both players. Rostock and Night Phoenix investing into Blink. Meanwhile, we have some counter Adepts here from Rostock as well. 1 Adept shades into his main base. Another 2 shade into the main base of Night Phoenix. A late reaction. Probes are going to be going down. And probes are falling. For one player, not the other. Rostock, he had a shield battery done earlier. It's going to be 4 dead workers. As a result, Rostock does take a massive economic lead. Up 8 probes compared to his opponent. And Night Phoenix, he either has to try to get some counter economic damage by getting in with some Adepts, or just go all in. Or we need to do something to recover. We could also try to go for a faster 3rd and try to catch up that way with a better economy. Night Phoenix has a couple of options. Speaking of a fast third, that's exactly what Rostock is going for. Third is already on the way. And Night Phoenix has to make a really difficult decision here. Do we also expand? He is getting across the map with those adepts. Does have the potential to kill some of those workers. There are so many stalkers in position, and we should chase the shade. And we follow the shade to the natural. No way in, not yet. And oh, yet. And we're just too far behind. It's too much to overcome. GG gets called, and Rostock will take it on Oceanborn. GG. Oh my god, that was such a tight hold from Night Phoenix, and he did well. He did well for himself, surviving against the one base all in, but economically, that's a different story, right? That was a bit of a different story. Ay. Rostock will take it here, and Night Phoenix just wasn't able to recover, wasn't able to keep up, was down to third base, and if you remember, I brought up there that Night Phoenix had to make a choice, had to either try to go for a 2-base all-in, maybe try to take a later third and try to catch up that way. Like, it was just a really difficult position for Night Phoenix, especially in a mirror matchup. Ay. And with that, Rostock is going to be taking it, but unfortunately, the replays are a little bit out of order. They're a little bit out of order, and I still have another replay available here. So it's a little bit awkward, because we already know the outcome of the series overall, but there was a third game played between the two of them, and we will be showcasing that. We'll be getting into that third game, so I do apologize. Again, three plays are a little bit jumbled, but it's fine. We're getting into this. It's all good. We're getting into game number 3, and spawning in the top left-hand corner. Oh god, they switch places again. It just keeps happening. There we go. In the top left-hand corner of Hard Lead, we have our Ukrainian Protoss player, the yellow Protoss representing Hot-Headed Gaming. It is Night Phoenix. And in the bottom right, we have his opponents. We have the Ukrainian Protoss, the red Protoss representing CSO Esports. It is Rostock. So, game 1, or I guess what would have been, we'll just call it game 1. Game 1, we had Rostock survive against an all-in. In game 2, the last game we saw an Oceanborn, we saw Rostock pull off a 1-base all-in. Are we ever going to be able to get into 2-base versus 2-base? Is that ever going to occur? That's the real question. Because what happened in the third game, or at least on Hard Lead, between these two players? How did this unfold? I'm ready for it. I am ready for it. So far, we have a 2-gate opener here from Rostock. Likewise, a 2-gate opener from Night Phoenix. Everything's looking normal for the time being. We've kind of taken turns in a way. We've seen Night Phoenix all-in on Alkyone. It was Rostock's turn to all-in on Oceanborn. We'll see how this all does unfold as Night Phoenix is coming in with a probe scout. Rostock being a little bit cheekier here with his own probe. Going for the... Okay. it's just non-stop all-ins. I like it. I appreciate it. Ay. As the probe of Night Phoenix is going to be scouting the main base, is going to be confirming that the pylon is missing. Night Phoenix has 2 pylons in his main base. Rostock missing 1 across the map. It is somewhere, and we know where. It's in the middle. Tis in the center. Ay. Gateway has been thrown down. Likewise, across the map, Night Phoenix still just looking. He's scouring the edge of the map here, looking for that proxy. And he's going to be going for a Stargate opener. Okay, so similar to the last game, even if he's up against a 1-base all-in, we can see this Stargate used to make Void Rays, and Void Rays can actually work wonders defensively back at home. As we are scanning furiously here, we have a probe on the left-hand side, we have both Stalkers in the middle, we have another probe on the right. Night Phoenix, he's checking everywhere, and he finally does come across the proxy gateway. So it's going to be 3 gates in total. I imagine a 4th gate from Rostock as well. But at least Night Phoenix is aware of what is coming his way. And he's preparing himself. Shield batteries thrown down. Oracle first. Bold move here out of Night Phoenix. Just like the last game, the Oracle's going to be going across the map, looking for some economic damage while he gets into Void Rays back at home. We'll see if he can pull it off. Night Phoenix going for a proxy pylon of his own. His goal here to defend on one base and to try to sneak out a couple of adepts even. Oh boy. Here we go. Best of 3, the score is 2-0. I do apologize, as I mentioned earlier that apparently the replays were a little bit out of order, so there was a 3rd game played just before some of the other games that we did kind of feature. As the Stalkers, they have arrived. We do see the Oracle coming in from behind, looking to try to get some economic damage done. Shield battery is done, by the way. Ooh, and we are going to try to focus it down here with that Pulsar beam. Oh, shield battery will eventually fall here to the Oracle, and we should be able to barely escape. No, we just commit. We go for the probe kills. We're going to get 3, 4 probes in total. Ooh, but the Oracle will go down. At the same time across the map, Rostock going to be containing his opponent. He is expanding, by the way. Meanwhile, Night Phoenix going for a Twilight Council, going for a Dark Shrine. Oh my god. Ay, ay, ay. Dark Shrine is on the way, and we're going to be going for some Dark Templar across the map. So far, 0 detection. There's no Robo, no Stargate, no Forge. Adepts are going to be shading in. And we will be getting to the main base. Probes are going to get picked off. Night Phoenix may have lost 2 workers, but now he's going to be able to get 3 across the map. And he also gets confirmation of the tech. He sees the lack of Robo, the lack of everything else. Rostock, he is looking for any kind of proxy locations. He will come across the gateway, actually. And if he can shut this down, then it's going to be that much more difficult for Night Phoenix to actually make these Dark Templar work. Oh, we have no fear. We just warp in the face of Rostock. We don't even care. And if they shade in once again, getting another handful of workers. And here come the Dark Templar, and the game may just end here and now with the revelation of these DTs. They waddle in, and there's just we can't do anything. There's nothing that can be done. GG gets called, and Night Phoenix did fight back in this series and did take a game. GG. GG, well played. Unfortunately, 0 detection available. A really good way to punish his opponent, of course, for skipping that tech and going for, or faking out, or trying to transition away from a 1-base all-in. And yeah, there was just no way for Rostock to deal with that. No way for that to be handled, and GG. GG, well played. And we have our end result here. Rostock did still end up winning, though, 2-1, and Rostock will be taking the 3rd place. Meanwhile, Night Phoenix will be taking 4th. Really impressive, actually. I feel like historically, Night Phoenix is a stronger player. I want to say that Night Phoenix is like arguably the best player in Ukraine, maybe the best Protoss player at least. You know, it's been a while since I've casted like Dimaga versus Night Phoenix, so I'm sure they're probably comparable in skill when they go back and forth. But yeah, really impressive here that Rostock was able to bring him down. Like, usually when we cast them, Night Phoenix is the player that comes out on top, so GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, and with that, we're now going to be getting ready for the grand finals as well. We've been waiting for this, but Wayne has been patiently waiting in those finals for his next opponent, and it is going to be Wayne versus Geralt. Mentioned earlier, we didn't get to see Geralt versus Night Phoenix, but that was the lower semifinals match. But we're here, ready for the grand finals. Let's go. It is going to be a ZVP. Wayne, of course, looking dominant earlier, taking down Rostock 2-0. but I do think that Wayne and Geralt are pretty comparable in skill. I want to believe that anyway. Do want to believe, but we'll see how this does turn out as we're getting into the finals of Hatchery Cup number 10. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the blue Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle. It is Wayne. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss representing Psystorm Gaming. It is Geralt. Ooh, Wayne opting to go for the 15-15. Do love to see it. He's going to be going for a 15 hatch into a 15 spawning pool. This is a build that has risen in popularity over the past 6 months or so. Has risen in popularity, and it's just a way to get your natural base on location because you get the hatchery a little bit earlier at the 15 supply mark. The probe, by the time it gets here, it's too late. It's too late to deny your expansion and too late to block you. So it's just a very safe and secure way to open up. Technically, this is inefficient. This is more inefficient than a hatch gas pool, but you get the luxury of taking your base on location where you want it to be, at the natural. So there's a bit of a give and take. Bit of a give and take with this. Behind this, we do have that 15 spawning pool as well. The downside here is that the gases are very late. We have very delayed gases here from Wayne, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. Link speed and tech in general isn't really the most important thing in the early game of ZVP. You can just defend with queens and slowlings, and you should be fine. Easing your way into the mid game. So players are going to be droning. Meanwhile, behind this, Geralt going for a gate expand into the Cybercore standard opener from our Protoss. Here we go. I should also reiterate as well that this is going to be a best of five grand finals. And for those that are curious, so this is of course the finals of the Hatchery Cup number 10. This is a monthly tournament. Every month we hope to host the Hatchery Cup here, whether it's by replays or whether we're covering it live. We do hope to bring it to you. Likewise, a big shout to Hatzel. Hatzel, of course, has been organizing, funding, and hosting these events for the past 10 months. Almost a year. Almost a year of Hatchery Cup. It's a lot of hatcheries. A lot of hatcheries. As we have our take of choice. Ooh, we are not going for the Stargate, by the way. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener from Geralt. Okay, a very aggressive start here. Bold move, especially considering that Glaive Adepts, I feel like, would be a little bit weaker here. I say this because Wayne was able to get his natural. Because of this, he's going to be able to wall off and get a solid defense going here at his natural entryway. We haven't pulled out a gas, though. Oh, we haven't pulled out a gas. This could actually be a Dark Shrine opener instead. I'm curious. I am curious. As the Adept is going to be threading a shade into the main. Link speed still on the way. Adept is going to focus down the tumor at least. Not a bad pickup as it heads towards that mineral line. Drones, though, they're being pulled. We do get a surround. We do shut down the Adept. And across the map, what do we have? Yep, there it is. There's the Dark Shrine. So we didn't pull out a gas, which is why it was looking like a DT opener. To be fair, staying in gas doesn't have to be Dark Templar. It could have still been Glaives, but it would have been a little bit more than that. It would have been Glaives, maybe like 4 Gate Glaives into a Dark Shrine, or maybe 6 Gate Glaive Adepts for a 2-base all-in. There are other tech choices you can go for. Last is going to be a Dark Shrine opener. And the goal here is for DTs to get across the map to wreak some havoc. If detection is available, then we can always morph them into Archons and go for some job harass instead. So this is not all in by any means. It's just a way to get ahead economically, a way to deal that economic damage. Behind this, we are soon to be taking our 3rd base. Pylon is thrown down. Good Sim City. Adept is in position. Nexus should soon be on the way. Wayne, meanwhile, Link speed is kicking in, and we will get eyes on the would-be 3rd. We get eyes on the Pylon, and we do try to go for the surround, going straight for the Adept even. Oh, it looks like we will barely get the Adept. We do delay the expansion. Getting the Pylon as well. So not a bad pickoff here. It does, oh, even supply block. No shot! He can't warp in! No shot. The supply block actually winning way in this game. It does delay the Dark Templar for that much longer. The spores are finishing. We have a spore at the third. We have a spore at the natural, spore on the way in the main. Ay, ay, ay. That was unfortunate. Again, this build from Geralt, clearly very crisp. A very crisp build. If anything goes wrong, then it will slow him down. Nexus is on the way. And here come the Dark Templar. There's still potential for damage. We can still pick off some units. Maybe get a queen. There we go. We go straight for the queen as well. Oh, and it looks like it will not go down. We get a surround. Hard pick up here. We do save every single Dark Templar. Quick moves out of Geralt. But alas, he still hasn't got much. His third is late. Bear that in mind. Later than normal. And Wayne hasn't lost any workers, hasn't lost any queens. Roach production has commenced. And now we're going for a big Ling counterattack. And what do we have at home to defend? We have soon to be an Archon. With this many Lings, we may even force a cancel. That would be huge. That would be disastrous for Geralt if he cannot get the space up and running. But there we go. The Archon does finish up in time. Oh, the Lings, they want us around. Oh my god. That was so close. Good SimCity here. The pylon does wall off this area, so you have like a little alcove that you can use to your advantage with that Archon. So really good movement, really good placement, I should say. Behind this, Geralt's going for a massive gateway explosion. Oh my god, that is going to be 8 gates. It's going to be a 3-base 8 gate all in. We're building up some immortals, yes, but do you see what I see? I see no forge. No forge, no upgrades, no further tech. Chargelot Immortal Archon. Geralt, he's going for one massive attack. And even though Wayne has had a good start to the game, even though he hasn't lost any workers, if he's too greedy, then he could just die. He could just fall here and now. As here comes the all-in from Geralt. Again, barely any saturation here at the third base. He is not making workers, he's making zealots. And here we go, the all-in has arrived. Wayne, on the other side, he cut workers at 66. A solid working out to stop. That is 3-base saturation. Wayne is focusing on Ling Roach Ravager, but there are no Ravagers. Only Ling Roach Queen. Here we go. The army has arrived. A bit of an overextension. The Immortals, they need to come into play. They need to get involved. So we dive on the army. The Lings are going to get annihilated. No, they get on top of the Immortals. They do tank some shots, but Geralt, he's breaking through. He's getting on top of the Queens, getting on top of the Roaches as well. The Immortals are doing so much damage in the back line. Wayne kiting back. He has time on his side. He has to try to buy as much time to put some reinforcements. Oh, as the Immortal count is still looking strong. Another big warping of Zealots as well. And it looks like Geralt may just have too much. We do have some more Roaches coming in though. Yeah, the boys, they have to be pulled into Archons. Ay, ay, ay. The drones, they're melting. And Geralt, he is breaking through. He's gaining ground. As I say that, we try to focus down some of those Immortals, but we cannot get on top of them. The 3 Immortals, they survive. Oh, spoke too soon. 1 Immortal goes down. 1 Immortal does fall. We are running out of Zealots. We're running out of steam. That's 22 dead workers. Oh my god. 22 dead drones. Good juggling out of Geralt. GG gets called, and Geralt does break through. He will take game number 1. Ooh, GG. Oh my god. A really good transition out of Geralt. Again, he had a shaky start. The Dark Templar didn't do too much. His third base was delayed. So, what do you do in that situation? All in. Just go for the all in, cut workers at 47, and send it across the map. And I do believe that Wayne didn't overdrone. I do think that 66 is like kind of the limit that you want to be at if outside of overdroning. But unfortunately, he had little time to prepare himself. As I was bringing up at the time, there were no Ravagers, right, to bile to help deal with things. He just had a really rough engage as well. The Lings were just melting to the Archons. The drones weren't adding too much either, and Geralt barely broke through. GG. GG. Geralt will take a lead in this series with a solid first game. I mean, I say a solid first game. I should say that it's really cool to see the adaptability of Geralt, right? Initially, he had a plan. Initially, he was going for a DT harass, and because of the damage that he sustained, he was so willing to go with the punches, to go with the flow, and pivot into an all-in instead, and catch the Zerg player off guard. Oh, let's go. As we have a 12 pool spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hardlead, we have the blue Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle down in this series, but he's upset. He's angry. He's looking to fight back. Representing Starlight Twinkle, it is Wayne. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss, the red Protoss, representing Psystorm Gaming. It is Geralt. Again, Geralt, he does have a lead in this series, but we do have aggression on our side. It isn't just a 12 pool, by the way. A drone is moving out as well. It's going to be a 12 pool proxy hatch. Wayne looking to spice things up here in game number 2. He's like, mate, you want to all in me? No, Poppy, no, I all in you. Now, the goal here is that this drone should be helping to disrupt the wall. We throw down the hatchery here next to the gateway to try to, again, make things a little bit more awkward for the Protoss player to defend and really just mess up this wall as best we can. Probe has arrived, and we are playing this out very safely here. We confirm, the scouting probe does confirm the lack of hatchery. Oh, but the hatchery is still thrown down on location next to that gateway. Immediately, we start walling off. Now, so far, a good reaction out of Geralt. He confirmed what was happening. We have a forge on the way. The forge is so important here for Geralt. He needs cannons more than anything. He has a very limited amount of production available. He can make one unit at a time with this gateway. Cannons will help so much in the added DPS here in the defense. Meanwhile, Lings are flooding across the map. Nothing but Lings. The drones are not being pulled. There are variations where you go for like spore crawlers or you try to drone drill past this. But from Wayne, it's only going to be Lings. As he's expanding behind this. Okay. We cancel the hatchery. We break in. And the Lings, they're looking for some economic damage. The hatchery gets replaced here at the base location. So Wayne, he's transitioning. He's going to be droning. Okay, the goal here now becomes we force a really awkward wall. Like, this is a really awkward position for Geralt. But Wayne, he's hoping to delay the expansion for as long as possible and deal economic damage. Oh. Has to be careful. Get very delicate micro here. He can't really fight this head on, otherwise he will lose all these Lings. So he backs off, rotates to the low ground. Cannon is going to finish up. And again, Wayne, he is droning heavily back at home. As much as he can. Lings, they have arrived. They pick off another probe. Force loss mining time. Second Zealot is out. Third Zealot pops out as well. And hopefully Wayne doesn't let this hatchery finish. We should be able to cancel it. So again, he's trying to recover. Getting another probe in the main. Not a bad pickoff. And there it is. There's a cancel on the hatchery. Wayne is going to back off. Geralt still on one base economy. And again, just a really messy natural here as well. Wayne is finally going to be cleaned up. With the arrival of this adept, the Lings, they're not really long for this world. They try to get one more probe for their troubles, and they... No! Oh my, they almost get it. They almost do get it, and... Oh my god, even the gateway's misplaced. We can't expand! No shot. Ah. Oh wait, no, we can. Okay, never mind. It looks like Geralt thought that it was misplaced, so he starts killing it, then he realizes it isn't. Okay, we're good. I was about to say that if it was misplaced, then the hatchery wouldn't have been able to fit. So the Nexus is on the way. Geralt is trying to recover, trying to expand, and we have to take a moment here to take stock because there's a lot that's been going on. As adepts do threaten a shade. Okay, so Wayne, he's on 21 workers. He's just now getting into his gases. Link speed just starts up. Wayne actually doesn't have an amazing economy. Off of a 12 pool, it is a rough transition. There's a lot of droning to do. So Wayne, he's still recovering, and there is a lot here threatening the bases of Wayne. Again, Geralt was forced to make these units, and now he can use them to harass. He's forcing out more Lings, forcing the Queens here onto the front lines. A very delicate dance. At any moment, Geralt could try to commit to the shade, and he can focus on drones. We have Lings in position. Behind this, Geralt finally getting his natural up and running, taking his gases. We have our tech of choice. It's going to be a Twilight Council. Meanwhile, Wayne going to base lair. Gases are being taken. Interesting. I'm curious here. We are droning, so I think we're going to be taking up. Part of me was feeling like maybe we could go for like a Ling Queen Nidus all in, but if that's the case, we wouldn't be making workers, and we wouldn't be getting a third base either. So Wayne is thinking further ahead. This could be Ling Hydra. We could try to go into a Spire. Again, I'm really curious like what the tech is going to be for here. We have our answer. Okay, it's just going to be roaches. Just going to be a roach warren here on the low ground. Should be to get into roach speed. Actually fully walling off even. Meanwhile, Geralt getting into Blink Stalkers, and it looks like the game is going to be settling, right? We have Wayne getting into 3 bases and taking up into roaches. Likewise, Geralt taking up into Blink Stalkers, and there's no kind of big sign of aggression. There's no gateway explosion from the Protoss, and there's no cutting of workers for the Zerg. After a very chaotic start, it looks like things are going to be calming down. As you can see here, Wayne, he's still droning. And I'm waiting for Geralt to try to expand and take a third. That's kind of the big moment I'm waiting for here. Gases are being taken, and Geralt, he's, again, a little bit tentative about expanding. But there we go, the probe is on the way. And we should be taking that third base. So, yeah, we're just going to be settling down. Now, what I will say, though, is that there is going to be a power spike moment for Wayne. I assume that he's going to be saturating his third, but I don't know if he's going to be droning up more than that. So we'll keep an eye on the worker count, especially because Wayne is investing quite heavily here into these roaches already. Roaches are on the way. Actually, quite a lot of them. Oh my god, Wayne. He does have a little bit of saturation here at his third base, don't get me wrong, but he's still refusing to drone, and he's still making nothing but roaches, and here we go. Wayne soon to push out across map. He's going to be hitting a timing here with +1 and with roach speed. Geralt, he's still teching. He's still trying to get his third up and running, working towards a robotic spade. No immortals, by the way. And Geralt, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble as Wayne, he's done making workers. 47 drones is all he needs. Basically 2 base saturation and like a handful, a sprinkle of drones at the third. And that's all we have. That's all we need. So far, good blinks here from Geralt. He shaves off a couple of units. He's trying to buy some time. We do have 1 immortal on the way. We are looking to lay siege upon this natural base. No, we're actually going for the third. Wayne going for some secure damage. There we go. He's going to be able to pile down that shield battery. Tries to get on top of the Stalkers here, but Geralt doing a great job at outmaneuvering the army. But he's running into reinforcements. No. Bleeding out a lot of Stalkers. Thankfully, there is no link speed, so Wayne can't really punish this too much. But we just ignore the Stalkers. And what do we go for? I would have assumed that we would have tried to break the natural, but no, we're going for the third. And after Wayne kills his third base, then he can drone. And there it is. Droning is upon us. This was to be an all-in from Wayne, and he's not feeling too confident about breaking the natural, so he just kills the third, and he's going to be droning from here. The Nova. Nova will not connect. Okay, he's going to be going down. Stalkers are recalled back home. As Wayne threatens that natural base even further. He hasn't seen the new third, though. He could totally deny this, but he's in the dark. He's unaware. Does not see the Nexus. So sneaky move here from Geralt. Does keep it hidden. But despite that, Geralt, he's still stuck on a 2-base economy. He is working on disruptors. We have a Dark Shrine on the... We have a Dark Shrine on the way. Let's go, the Invisible Man. I mean, that would be a good way to come back. As he picks off another one of those overlords. Meanwhile, Adepts, a shade into the third. Ooh, we already didn't have a lot of workers. That is 8 more drones going down. Geralt, he's still in this. And we're going for another wave of harassment. Adepts was the third. Stalkers distracting the main army. The miles! Barely miss. Barely do not connect. Disruptors have arrived. This is so on a knife's edge. Novas, they're going to be going off. Oh, the rally! Oh my god, one disruptor goes down, but big connections. That may be worth it. We may lose a disruptor, but we do take a big chunk out of the army. Meanwhile, we still have that War Prism across the map. Dark Shrine is finishing. Do we have detection? No Spore in the main. There's a Spore at the third. There's one Spore at the third base, but the rest of the bases are exposed. Dark Templar, they can pop off. There it is. 4 DTs are being morphed in. Now, thankfully, they're going to be hitting the base, the only base that has detection. So, Wayne is a little bit fortunate here, but despite that, they can still focus down that Spore. And there is still an Overseer as well. Nova's going to be going off. We see Wayne coming in from behind. He gets on top of the Disruptors. Yeah, 3. Every Disruptor goes down. Big engagement here from Wayne. He's going to be able to chase this down, and he's not going to stop. Meanwhile, here come the Dark Templar. Going straight for the Spore. Spore's going to go down. Overseer's on the way, and we're going to get damage done. We're going for the Hatchery. I'm not too sure about that. We have a lot of Hatcheries. The Stalkers. Links are late. Hatchery will fall, but we have detection. And we have plenty of other bases to just main out over to. Yeah, we had a backup 4th base. The drones, they survive. They go back to work. And Wayne is about to max out. It was a good effort here by Geralt. You know, he was doing the best he can to come back. You know, how do you come back as a Protoss? Purification Novas and Dark Templar, right? Like, it makes sense. And he had some nice moments here, but alas, Wayne, he has snowballed out of control. He's been able to drone up, takes another Nova to the face. But he is collapsing on these Stalkers. There's no way out. This time with Link speed, I'm getting some deja vu. Stalkers are being chased down. Links, they're busting into the natural. And Wayne now finally gets eyes on this third. Maybe he's going to be rolling on in. We try to go for the recall to save a handful of Stalkers. But Wayne has too much, and he will be looking to tie up this series. The initial 12 pull may not have ended the game, but Wayne was able to recover from there. Was able to shut down the first third base. Drone from that point, takes out everything here at the new third of Geralt. GG, and Wayne ties it up 1-1. GG. And off of a very aggressive start here. Going for the 12 pull proxy hatch. Did transition out of it. It was a shaky transition, but he got there in the end. Did get there in the end. And with that, we have a tied up 1-1 series. Oh boy. And this can still take a turn. This can still go either direction. As we're getting ready for game 3, it's going to be on Site Delta. Let's go. We'll be getting into that third game to determine who takes the lead in the series, who gains momentum, and who's going to be one step closer to becoming this month's Hatchery Cup champion. As we settle into this, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the blue Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle. It is Wayne. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Polish Protoss player representing Psystorm Gaming. It is Geralt. Here we go. Again, so far we are tied up 1-1. Still no clear favored player yet. We have seen a lot of aggression though. You know, game 2, we had of course the 12 full into the proxy hatch from Wayne. Game 1, we had Geralt go for like a 2.5 base all in with Charge Lots, Immortals, and Archons. But now we load into Site Delta. Bit of a longer rush distance map in the map pool. Does take longer to actually be active, to move out across the map, to be assertive. The bases are also quite far apart, so even though we have seen a lot of late game scenarios on Site Delta, we have seen players struggle to hold on to fringe bases, especially when you take a 4th. Like the 3rd and 4th are quite far apart. The 5th base, forget about it. It's like again, it can be quite difficult to actually maintain your position here. It feels like whoever gains like momentum aggressively on Site Delta, it's so difficult to take that away from them. Once they get the ball rolling, it can be hard to stop it. But we'll see. We'll see where this takes us. For now, Geralt just being as annoying as possible, tasing away at those drones. It shouldn't get a kill, but it is getting low. Has to be careful. Drone is going to be safe in the center of that. Oh, he wants it up! Oh my god. He gets around it! No! Oh, a little bit too greedy there. Geralt, he dove in into the middle of the mineral line for that one drone. He got baited! And Wayne got the surround. Ay. That's a rough start, actually. That's a really rough start. Because that probe died, that means that we can't delay the third. We can't even get eyes on whether or not there is a third base. Like, there is value in that first scouting probe, so a nice little pickup. A nice win early on for Wayne. Meanwhile, behind this, Geralt, he's going for his Stargate follow-up. We have our tech of choice. This is going to be Stargate. This should be for an Oracle first. I'll remind us, though, that we have seen a lot of Void Ray openers recently over the past couple of weeks. I'll have to thank Classic for that, but Void Ray openers have been very trendy as of late, so I wonder if that's going to be the case here. Based on the rally, it's looking like an Oracle. That doesn't commit to the shade. Wayne is cutting workers, by the way. Oh my, okay, we're good. I was like, we're cutting workers at 23. Are we not droning? We are banking up lings, don't get me wrong, but behind this, Wayne is droning, thankfully. For a moment, I was like, is he link flooding? Is it all over? Is it? For now, link speed is still on the way. And Wayne, it looks like he just wants to shut down these adepts and try to threaten the third base of his opponent. So a very aggressive style here from Wayne. The adepts, they do find themselves here in a pretty good position. A nice choke point here. We're fighting at the hot gates, and only 2 links can attack at once. So a good trade here from Geralt, but he will be losing these adepts nonetheless. They will still fall. Behind this, it is going to be an Oracle first here. The Oracle gets across the map. Second Oracle's on the way, and we are taking that third. So a pretty standard opener this time out of Geralt. Just Oracle into a third base. The Gateway Explosion behind this is a little bit suspect. I'm assuming we're going to be seeing a Twilight Council. But so far, we're getting up to 4 gates. And we're going to be using vanilla Gateway units. There it is. There is that Twilight Council. A little bit late is what I will say. This is a delayed Twilight Council from Geralt. I don't know if that was intentional or not. And we're going for a Phoenix? Okay. I mean, there's no Forge. This looks like Glaive Adepts. This does look like Glaives here. Stalkers are revealed. They shut down the Overlord. Supply blocking Wayne. Wayne behind this getting to +1 melee, which means no Roach Warren. Uh-oh. I'm a little bit concerned. Show us the Glaives. We'll see if we head in one direction or the other. Oracles are moving out. They're going to be threatening the bases. Oh, we are warping in Stalkers, actually. Huh. Blink? But there's no Forge. Like, because there's no Forge, like, this should be an all-in. We are moving out. Give us an upgrade. We're chronoing the Twilight Council, but we forgot the upgrade. Not like this. We're moving out across the map. Geralt with his ground army. Nothing behind this, though. I'm concerned, and the question becomes, when does Geralt realize that he didn't start any upgrade? As he's pushing onto creep, Lings, though, they have arrived. They're getting us around. The Oracles are going to be going ham, but there's no way to evacuate. There's no blink, but we do have additional Stalkers on the way. We are breaking through. Getting on top of some of these queens. Creep is being denied. Do we notice? Additional gateways are being thrown down. 3 more gateways, a big gateway explosion. There's the Forge, and now there it is. Blink is on the way. Very late, unfortunately. Now, because Blink is so delayed, these Stalkers are so vulnerable. They're gonna get shut down. We are forced to recall. Oracle falls as well. And we're going for a big counterattack. Like, again, without Blink, these Stalkers, another one falls as well. We forced him with the overcharge. Geralt, he holds on to his third. He's holding. As the game is going to be settling from here. We're calming things down. As we calm things down, a big shout out to Rodin. Rodin18 in the chat. Thank you so much for the support here on the CranKy Ducklings. Thank you. Quack, Bobby, quack. Hope you enjoy your emotes. Hope you enjoy your replay packs. If you haven't joined our Discord, I recommend it because we do share replay packs to our subscribers. Otherwise, we're settling into this, and Geralt, he's now working on his 4th base. Blink is about to kick in alongside +1. Meanwhile, Wayne across the map is happily droning. Instead of being too aggressive or assertive, he's just droning up to 80 workers. He's getting a 4th, soon to be a 5th base up and running. +1 range is on the way. Bailing speed, Wayne, he's getting to Lingbane Roach Ravager, essentially. A pretty robust army here in the mid-game. Doesn't scale amazingly into the late game, but in the mid-game, really strong, really powerful, and is designed to kind of trade with the army, to absorb and surround and take all these blows. And yeah, Wayne, he's getting into it. Meanwhile, Geralt, because of the shaky start, is still stumbling into the mid game himself. Sure, he's working on a 4th, but when it comes to his army composition, it's just Blink Stalkers. Charge is delayed because Blink was delayed. Like, it's all just a little bit late here, but he will catch a hatchery. Gets the 5th. Not too bad. Meanwhile, Geralt, he will be able to blink to the low ground and escape the clutches of these Lings. Geralt, he does deal some counter damage, but this 4th base is looking so exposed. He may have killed the 5th, but Wayne, he wants the 4th. Overcharge is popped. But we get on top of the shield battery, we get on top of the base itself. Bailey's going to be rolling on in. Trying to find some good connections here on those Stalkers. Wasting some of those shots. We can see the army is coming back home to reinforce. And can we actually hold on though? Geralt looking for the surround. He comes in from behind. He cleans up a lot of these roaches, and Wayne does not get much done. Oh my god. Wayne in a lot of trouble. I'll be honest, I assumed that this base was going to die. I assumed that at least the mineral line would go down. But the roaches get completely cleaned up and the workers survive. That shield battery did a lot, actually, and yeah, that was like a bit of a disjointed attack. And now Geralt, he's in a good position. Geralt, he finds himself in an amazing position, actually. He's ahead worker-wise, he's even on bases. Wayne, just now trying to get his 5th, or trying to rebuild it. Hive is on the way. But we can deny the 5th again for a 2nd time. We have a Zealot runway towards the south. The Stalkers, they arrive here towards the north, and the main army is out of position. We get on top of the roaches. A good trade here from Geralt. And he should be forcing a cancel. The hatchery will complete. Can we get a kill? It looks like we will. At the same time, the Zealots, they get into that 3rd base. They get 10 worker kills. A good split here by Geralt. He's snowballing out of control. He completely surrounds, he engulfs the army. The hatchery goes down. The drones as well. GG gets called, and Geralt fights back, taking a lead in this series. GG. Oh my god. I would almost want to have a look at the... I would almost want to have a look at the replay at that attack, because again, the push from Wayne wasn't looking bad. It was not looking bad at all. When he moved out, when he was trying to knock down the 4th base of his opponent, you could argue that the Bailings could have been used a little bit better. If the Bailings, I thought that they were going to go for the mineral line. And if they did, we would have at least crippled the economy. But yeah, like, surprisingly, Geralt, he was able to hold on, come in from behind, surround, and yeah, just shut Wayne down. That was crazy. That was really impressive. GG. GG. You see, the key to winning PvZ is to forget Blink. True. I mean, unironically, if you do make a mistake like that, like, you can kind of like give your opponent a bunch of confidence, and then, you know, if you're overconfident in yourself, sometimes that leads to a couple of mistakes. Sometimes that leads to some misjudgments as well. And I don't, you know, maybe that helped. Maybe a little bit, just a little bit. Regardless, GG, well played. That's all. I mean, that's also why it's impressive for Geralt. to turn water into wine, to recover from a pretty disastrous start. Remember, in the start of the game, like, he bled out so many stalkers, and he was forced to recall. He was being contained. Like, it was a shaky start from Geralt, but he bounced back. Did it bounce back? And now we are getting into game number 4. Here we go. Geralt, he is one game away from winning this all and from becoming this month's Hatchery Cup champion. And our Zerg player here is looking to fight back, looking to try and force that ace match. And here we go, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate. We have the blue Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle. Down in the series again, he has to fight back here. And now it is Wayne. And spawning in the top right, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. One game away from becoming this month's champion. It is Geralt. Here we go. This time there is no 15-15 out of Wayne. He's forced to take the unnatural natural. Geralt's having a small win here to begin. Remember, the last game even started with Geralt losing his probe to us around. It was there was so many little things working against Geralt, but yeah, beautiful. He fought back. Never give up, never surrender. Hello, Mr. Drone. Where are we going? We are going for, I imagine, a hatch block into the natural. It is going to be a hatch first here from Wayne, and I believe he's going, yep, straight for that natural location, straight for the hatchery on the low ground. Let's go. Boys are being pulled. So, for those curious, this is a macro opener out of Wayne. There's no early pull, there's no early gas. It is a hatch into gas. This is designed to disrupt the economy, to really slow down Geralt in the early game. The goal here is, well, we can do a couple of things. This should be forcing out a Zealot. We could even go for a cancel on the hatchery and go for an Evo block as well, just to delay the expansion even further and just make the Protoss player as uncomfortable as possible. As we should be forcing a cancel. Up! Oh my god. Phew. The last second there, we do cancel that hatchery. Drone does escape. Now, we could even try to rotate around, do a bit of a lap here, and go for another cancel. Oh, looks like there was a bit of a pause. We could even go for a gas steal as well. There's a couple of things that we can do with this drone. For now, though, Wayne, he is going to be droning on up. Looks like there was a bit of a pause, and hopefully everything has been cleared up. Hopefully everything is looking good, looking stable between our players. Oh, gases are being taken. And the game is going to be settling from settling from here, so we even get a kill on the drone. And again, this is such a late expansion for Geralt. He was also forced to make the Zealot, so he should be moving out with it. He has a couple of options, I guess. He could try to move out with his Zealot and his Adept, but he only has the one Adept. And he's opting to go for a Stargate opener. Now, the downside here for Wayne, as you can see, is Wayne is down in the worker count. Like, he's down in drones. He has a lot of droning to do to recover. Likewise, his gases are delayed. Link speed is delayed. He pulls out of gas completely here, just because he needs to mine as many minerals as he can. And here comes that Zealot and the Adept. Again, Wayne has very little to work with, so there is potential for these two units to get damage done. You can see the Zealot coming in from behind. So far, Wayne on top of that shade. Zealot is going to be diving in, and again, we do find a nice position here. We do wall off those Lings. The Adept does come in to join that Zealot, but we get a surround. The Adept is going to get shut down. The Zealot as well. Very nice control out of Wayne. Really nice handling of the situation. Does shut down those two units. Behind this, ooh, we're going for a fast Evo chamber. Interesting. Okay. I imagine this is going to be for +1 melee. Lings are moving out. And the first Oracle is on the way here for Geralt. Interesting. Going to be an Oracle opener straight into the Twilight Council. Okay. Now, because this is a Twilight Council follow-up on 2 bases, this looks like glaives. It does look like Glaives, but last game we had something similar and we went for Blink Stalkers, so I'm not as confident anymore when it comes to seeing what Geralt can do, but again, this should be Glaive Adepts. We'll see. We'll see what he goes for. As the Oracle has arrived. Ooh, spores are not quite done. We're going to get a couple of drones and a little less mining time as well. 2 worker kills as the Oracle rotates towards that natural. Queen is not in position. And there it is. Glaives is on the way. Okay. That last game was just an anomaly. Oh no, meanwhile the Oracles are across the map. We get a surround and we force a kill. That's a kill! That's a kill, not a cancel on the third base. Ay, ay, ay. 400 minerals down the drain. Already Geralt has been struggling to recover from the early game, and now even more so. Now, Geralt isn't out of this yet. He kills another 2 drones. Remember, we got some Glaive Adepts. They're on the way. 4 gates in total. This could get damage done. This could help bounce Geralt back into this. But there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on these Adepts to cripple the economy, to even things up. The downside as well with this follow-up is that there's no Robo, so there's no Warp Prism. There's no way to reinforce. What you see is what you get. We're going to have to warp in all the Adepts back at home and then shade across the map. Meanwhile, Wayne, he's going to be defending not with Roaches, but with Ling Bane. Baneliness is on the way. This is actually not a bad thing for Geralt. If the Baneliness was a little bit later, then it would only be Lings and Queens to defend, and these Adepts, they can have their way with that army. But the Baneliness is about to finish up. And it is tricky to defend against Glaive Adepts with Ling Bane, but not impossible. You just have to make sure your Banelings are in position, that they're able to chase the Shades. And with good enough connections, these Adepts will be shut down. And here you go. We have 13 Adepts in total. We commit to the Shade. We get a surround! Ay, ay, ay. The Lings, they're here. They're +1 melee Lings, by the way, and they just chew through these Adepts. Oof. The full surround. The Adepts, they go down one after the other. We only have 3 left here on the left-hand side, and we have plenty of Lings to chase this down. Geralt, this was his way to come back in this game. And with these Adepts not really achieving too much, that means that once they get shut down, Wayne's going for a counterattack. And what is there at home to defend? No shield battery, no cannons. The Adepts, they shade in once again. Again, Geralt, he has to make sure that they buy time. He has to keep Wayne busy. Otherwise, Geralt cannot hold on to this base. Here we go. He's going for another warping of Adepts. We have Blink on the way behind this. Here come those Lings. Again, they have +1 melee. The Oracles are doing what they can. Banelings are on the way. Ay, ay, ay. Do we have sentries? No, no sentries, no force fields. SimCity just now being thrown down. But this is looking a little bit bleak. As Wayne gets eyes on this, he sees how vulnerable this position is. Yeah, he's going right for it. Gets us around on the Stalker. Banelings are waddling in. They get into the mineral line. Oh my god. Force field is thrown down a little bit too late. We have the overcharge, but the Banelings kill everything anyway. And the Lings are snowballing out of control. We shut down the shield battery, we get on top of the sentry. The Oracles are putting in a lot of work, don't get me wrong. The Oracles, they're just annihilating those Lings. But they're not done. They get into the main, they get into the natural. And we have 14 more Lings in production. The third base is going to hold. We did lose 10 workers. But Geralt, he's holding, he's surviving. But is he really living? That's the... Oh, as another pylon goes down in the main. Rocks are being focused. Behind this, we did throw down a Roach Warren, so it's going to be Ling Bane Roach Ravager, or Ling Bane Roach. So Wayne, he's not resting on his laurels. He fully saturated his 4th base. He's on 73 workers. He's even taking a 5th here in the center of the map. Just securing his position. Oh. Adepts are being caught out once again. And we can even go straight for the Stalkers as well. +2 melee on the horizon. Geralt, he does get across the map. He's going to get a couple of drones. Forces back the army. The problem here is that Geralt, he's still stuck on a gateway-based composition. It's Stalkers and Adepts, essentially. There's no Colossus, no Immortals, no Disruptors. We don't have the economy for it, not yet. Geralt, he needs time to stabilize, and we're not giving him that time. Oh, there's no shield battery! There's no shield battery, no overcharge, not this time! Wayne is pushing on through. You can see that Geralt, he's blinking his heart out, trying to trade as best he can against this army. But the Banelings, they crash in for a second time. Oof. Oh, the probes! Oh my god. 24 workers go down, GG gets called, and Wayne will tie up the series 2-2. We are going to the ace match. GG, well played. Whew. We are going the distance. We're going the distance here, and that's all I ever wanted. Again, it's great to see both Wayne and Geralt duke it out. They are both comparable players, both amazing in their own right. And we're going all the way to Game 5. And Game 5 is going to be taking place on Alcyone. When it comes to that last game, again, it was just a really uncomfortable game for Geralt. Like, the proxy hatch, you know, we had the Lings coming in as well. We had just a really awkward and disrupted opener here out of Geralt, and he just wasn't really able to recover from it. He was trying to, he was putting a lot of onus on his Glaive Adepts, but we saw that the Adepts didn't really do too much. They just got surrounded almost immediately, and they got shut down. From that moment, we did see that Wayne gained map control. On top of that, a big thing as well is the fact that Wayne didn't, again, rest on his laurels. He didn't just go pure Ling. He got a 5th base, sorry, he got a 4th base and a 5th base. He was going into Roaches as well. Like, he was taking up and, again, getting further ahead. And now we're getting into our next game. Into the final game of this series, of the finals of Hatchery Cup number 10. Whew. Let's go. Those probes help. Aye. As we find ourselves in the ace match and spawning in the top right hand corner of Alcyone, we have the blue Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle, tying up the series 2-2 in that last game, forcing the ace match. It is Wayne. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Polish Protoss player representing Storm Gaming. It is Geralt. And where are we going? Immediately, Geralt, he sent his probe across the map. He mines through the center mineral patches. No shot. I was about to go into a tirade about how, like, okay, we're loading into Alcyone. You know, this is typically a very macro-oriented map. We've seen a lot of late game. We've seen a lot of split map scenarios. Wayne is setting up for another proxy hatch. And Geralt, if he does get hatch blocked, we have options. Okay, we're going for a proxy. I was like, do we go for the gold? Is that how we counteract something like a proxy hatch? I'm curious. Wayne, though, he's going gas first. Uh-oh. This is a much more aggressive build. A much more aggressive build here. More so than we have seen in the entirety of this series. Drone is going to be coming in. Is looking for a way into that main base, but we actually expand back at home. I love this. This was almost a fake out of Wayne. We're not going for a proxy hatchery. It's going to be a gas first. It's going to be a gas pull into hatchery here with the fast gas. We can go into a Bane Bust or a Roach Rush. Both are available. And it looks like Geralt, he did move out with that drone only to scout to make sure that Wayne wasn't taking the gold. Very interesting. The drone reveals itself, but this can't really do anything. So mind games, basically. Mind games here from Wayne in this drone. Meanwhile, across the map, what do we go for? The probe is going to be shut down. And now we can go for our tech of choice. Lings are flooding across the map. We are fully walled off. Ling speed is on the way. We are not pulling out of gas. This is not just a Ling flood. This should be for, I imagine, either a Roach Warren. We would have already seen a Roach Warren at this point, to be fair. Bay Nest? We're still waiting for a little bit of gas. Does take 50 gas to throw it down. Yeah, this is something you don't see too often. It's a Bane Bust. You don't see this too often in this matchup, but we are going for a straight-up Bane Bust here from Wayne. It's all or nothing. I was hoping that we could sink our teeth into a longer game, but we're going all in. And Geralt, he is aware that something wrong is happening. Like, he's aware of the fast gas. He doesn't know if it's Banelings or Roaches yet, but he knows that something is coming. We already have our safety zealots. Adept is on the way. We have a shield battery behind this. Shield battery with an overcharge. We have the Stargate. With the Stargate, we can go into an Oracle or a Void Ray. They will both help in their own way. But again, Wayne, he's cutting workers here at 15. 15 drones. That's all he needs. And he's just banking up his Lings, waiting for Ling speed to finish. Banelings are soon to be on the way. We're looking for the Banelings. Oh, we get eyes on Lings, though. And this wall is still looking very fragile. And here we go. We're moving out. Once again, the Adept trying to get a read on what's happening. We need to fully wall off. We do have enough room for a gateway. There is enough room. Lings are moving out. Here come the Banelings. When the Oracle, it's rallied across the map. We need it here at home to defend. Shield battery doing what it can, and now the Banelings, they have been revealed. Immediately the Oracle does turn around. Gateway is thrown down as well. The overcharge barely keeps that Zealot. Oh my god, it lives! The Zealot barely does survive. We're going to try to focus down the Gateway, but the overcharge is keeping it alive. The Oracle going ham. The Baneling will crash in, and it looks like the Gateway is going to fall, just barely. But we still have another Adept behind this, another Gateway as well. Here comes the second Oracle. We defend. GG gets called, and Geralt will take the series 3-2, becoming this month's Hatchery Cup champion. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Even though we didn't see what was coming our way, I love that Geralt, he left room. I don't know if you saw that in the defense. He left room for a gateway behind the Zealots as well, just in case that event did occur, just in case there was a Bane bust. The Oracle was able to arrive just in time, clutch shield battery and an overcharge as well, keeping that gateway alive a little bit longer. The hero Zealot taking like 5 Banelings to the face and surviving as well. Geralt, he does survive, he does take it, and yeah, with that, GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Ooh, congratulations to Geralt as he does take it 3-2. Again, becoming this month's champion. Congratulations. Also, fun fact, I was uncertain as to the results of this just because, fun fact, the overcharge that made, that was the MVP. He took so many Banelings. Fun fact, the Liquipedia page and the challenge bracket actually had conflicting results. The challenge page said that Geralt had won, and the Liquipedia bracket said that Wayne had won. So I was happily not knowing, coming into this blind and not knowing the outcome of the tournament. So I was myself on the edge of my seat, and GG. GG, well played. I will fix up the Liquipedia. Will fix up the Liquipedia page just so we can, of course, have the correct score. And yeah, with that, I mean, Wayne, he was up against a sea of Protoss. He was up against a sea of Protoss players, and Wayne, he made it to the finals, made it to the ace match, but alas, could not bring down his opponent. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe this may be the first Hatchery Cup win for Geralt. I'm just going to be double checking that. Geralt, he has competed in some of these tournaments in the past, but yeah, this is his first win. So congratulations. Congratulations to our Polish Protoss player. Looking strong, looking in form, and I look forward to seeing more of both Geralt and Wayne, Night Phoenix, and all these other players later on tonight. This is not our only broadcast here of the evening. We have another broadcast in a couple of hours. The IEM Katowice European qualifiers are on the horizon. Let's go. So yesterday, the past 2 days, we've been covering the Korean qualifiers. I say Korea, the Asia server qualifiers. We were covering them. There was some smiles, some tears, laughter, sadness. Some players did qualify, other players didn't. We had some upsets. We had some insane results during the Asia server qualifiers for IEM Katowice. And tonight is the first, or is the open qualifier for Europe. So the Europeans are going to be duking it out tonight. I'm sure Wayne, Geralt, and many of these other players here in Hatchery Cup are going to be a part of that tonight as well. Oh boy, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's 7 slots. Let me just double check. I believe it's going to be 7 slots available, and they're going to be qualifying for the closed qualifier. Let me just double check that. Sorry, 8. There's 8 slots available. So 8 players advance on to the closed qualifier tomorrow. So over the next 2 days, 48 hours, we're going to be covering the IEM European server qualifiers. And then on Sunday, over the weekend, is the Americas qualifiers. Now, bearing in mind my verbiage was intentional, or my wording was intentional, these are server qualifiers, which means you can be from any region and you can participate. These are not region locked, just the server that is played on is kind of set in stone. So because of that, we had a couple of Europeans try to compete in the Asia server qualifiers with mixed success. They of course fought their heart out, but they did get knocked out. And it does mean that some of the Korean players that failed to qualify, big names like Gumiho, Creator, Classic, to name a few, some big names, some big Korean names, did not qualify. Nightmare is another one, did not qualify through the closed qualifier of the Asia server. They can try again tonight in the European server. I think we all expect them to appear in the Americas server qualifiers just because the ping is better for the Koreans there compared to Europe. But some of them could be crazy and they could go for the Europe qualifiers as well. It's possible. It's possible. It is possible. So be sure to tune in. If you're curious, the qualifiers are going to be in how many hours? Let me just double check. They're going to be in 6 hours time, just under 6 hours time. So that's quite a ways away. I'm going to be taking a break, you know, getting some food, just stretching a little bit, and yeah, I'll try to make sure I'm awake for the for the European qualifier. It's very late. I think it's at like 6 a.m. It's at 6 a.m. for Australians. Oh my god. Awful time. It's so late. It's so late. But I'll be there for that. I'll be there for it nonetheless. So yeah, mark your calendars. Be sure you're there for it. Be sure you're there. Meanwhile, before we do wrap up, again, a big shout out to Hatsu TV. She is again a big name behind this tournament, behind this event, behind the Hatchery Cup. She's been hosting them on a monthly basis for quite some time now, and yeah, it's really cool to see her invest so heavily here into StarCraft. I believe the Hatchery Cup recently joined the OSC circuit. OSC, of course, is kind of like an amalgamation of all these online events. The Sparkling Tuna Cup is a part of it, for example. And yeah, that means that Hatchery Cup gives OSC points as well. So yeah, there's a lot available here, and yeah, we should be back next month. We should be back in January for Hatchery Cup number 11. We will be back. It's gonna be 8 p.m. here in the afternoon. Yeah. Aye. I mean, it's a good time for the Europeans. Don't get me wrong. Good time for the Europeans. And again, we did miss this live, so that's why we covered this by replays. But next time we cover the Hatchery Cup, it should be live as well. We should be able to cover it live before you. So yeah. With that, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. If you are curious, let's see. If you're curious about our next broadcast, it's going to be in 6 hours time. Oh my god. It's going to be in 6 hours time, so be sure you're a part of that. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for the support. Exclamation mark YouTube in the chat, and you can get a link to our YouTube channel. We do upload on a daily basis, and we are also co-streaming on YouTube as well. We're live on Twitch and YouTube at the same time, so you can check us out there if you're interested. Otherwise, thank you. We'll see you guys again in 6 hours. Mark your alarm. Set your alarm. 6 hours time. More StarCraft. Non-stop StarCraft here on the CranKy Ducklings. Otherwise, stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Not too sure who, but we'll find someone to raid. Find someone, give them some love, give them some support. Until then, hasta luego. Bye. Hasta luego.